We're here.
All right, cool.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know where to get started. There's so much going on.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Pick a topic.
So I will say we did one and I never released it. But since then, you've announced you're running for Congress?
Congress, yeah. Jody Arrington's old spot, the CD19.
Okay.
Yeah.
United States Congress.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Arrington's not doing it anymore?
No, he's retiring.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why all of a sudden you've got 7 people running?
I didn't realize, respectfully, you were going up against Kyle Rabel.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
I've had him. Yeah, I didn't know that's what that was.
Yeah, well, in the general election, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what made you decide to do that?
Man, I'm a problem solver. I like fixing stuff, and just representing my constituents here in Precinct 2. I think I've saved the taxpayer hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'd like to go to Washington D.C. and try to see if I can save you guys a couple million.
It's that simple.
Yeah, pretty much. There's little changes that you can make in policy that will make a huge difference back here in the district. So I'll give you one example. You saw where Trump he just tweeted maybe we should allow Argentinian beef into America. Now we can have a whole conversation about that, but he put that out there. We watched cattle prices drop by $600. Okay. We don't need to do that. We got this little program called CRP. Started back in the 80s. They were trying to get land out of use for row crop. So there's just too much cotton or too much corn. So we'll pay people not to farm certain acres. The idea was that people would go ahead and they'd stop farming the less productive acres. Okay. So what happened? The unintended consequences of all your government policies. Well, there were people that had CRP and they put land in CRP and they went ahead and retired. They just kept it in CRP and just keep getting a check for it. Okay, well, that wasn't exactly what was intended. But then CRP started becoming this political football. Next thing you know, it's, you can plant this on it for, for wildlife habitat. And then it started popping up and saying, you can plant this on it for pollinators and we'll pay for that too. So you started having all these different things coming and going. Well, next thing you know, you've got between 25 and 27 million acres across the United States that you can't graze except for every 3 years. You can't really do anything else with it either. So, what good is that doing?
What's it called?
CRP.
Okay, because I've heard that with when people go on there's a lot of ticks.
Yeah.
This is what I've heard before.
Okay. Well, yeah, tall grass. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that why? Because they leave it unattended?
Yeah, pretty much. You plant it in grass and you leave it alone. That's the idea. And, hopefully you get quail and dove and, whatever else using it. Okay. But we need beef, right? Because the price of beef's too high. Well, just let the ranchers graze CRP grass. That helps out a lot of your young ranchers. That helps your, anybody just getting started, because it's going to open up more land available and make it available for grazing. Okay, that's a simple, easy problem to fix. But so who's going to vote for that? Well, all your Western states are going to do it. Anybody in the ag area like 2019 or like District 19, of course, we're going to be interested in that. So who's not going to be interested in that? Well, people live in urban areas, inner cities. So you got to reach across that aisle. You got to go say, hey, what do you guys want to? And a little term is going to come up called carbon sequestration. And that's this idea that we're going to pay farmers to grow certain crops, and that's going to pull carbon out of the air. And, it's going to, make the planet a greener place. Okay. Well, it's real simple. That grass, that CRP grass, it only grows 2 feet tall. Okay. Then it stops. But if the cows go in and graze it, then it's going to grow 2 feet tall again and again and again. So you could be grazing that CRP grass, 2 to 6 times, depending on what part of the country you're in. There you go. Congratulations. You sequestered 6 times more carbon.
There you go.
So yeah, little tweaks, little changes like that, that'll make a big difference. So that's the stuff that I look at. That's the low hanging fruit. Now, the big stuff that you got to go after, we still got to get rid of the Fed. We still got to stop sending all your tax dollars over to foreign countries.
Please.
Yeah. We still need to, we need to stop funding the quality learning centers, obviously. Yeah. Who knew you could fund terrorism through a daycare? Got to hand it to them. They're creative.
Yeah. I'm sure I knew that was going to be brought up.
Yeah.
But okay. Getting rid of the Fed. What is the Fed? What was its intended purpose?
Well, that's who prints all your money.
Okay.
And, the government comes to the Fed the Fed looks at the interest rates and says, okay, let's see. We want to keep the interest. Well, okay, they got three purposes right now, and they've had different purposes over the years. But that's your centralized bank. Okay, so yeah, that needs to go away. Last guy that really fought against that was John F. Kennedy, and yeah, you saw that how that ended.
I was wondering.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show topic. but anyway, so your Fed gets created. I want to say 1913, I think, was that a really good book called The Monster in Jekyll Island. You got to read that one sometimes. If you like the conspiracy theories stuff, look into how many how many people that were on the Titanic. Didn't make it. That was a problem.
Is that factually true though?
That those people died? Yeah,
but they were going to go.
But they were opposed to the idea of the creation of it. Yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay.
well, I mean, you got two facts, you start putting them together, and then you start getting a conspiracy theory.
Well, those three things you mentioned, when people try to take those away, it seems like a
So three things the Fed's doing right now is they're worried about price stabilization, they're worried about inflation, and that one we're pretty familiar with, and employment. Okay, we need to take two of those away. The only thing they need to be worried about is price stabilization. Just let them focus on that. Inflation. We know what happens with inflation. You print a bunch of money, you have inflation. You don't print a bunch of money, you don't have inflation. It's pretty simple. And then you can get yourself off into a tailspin of deflation, but that's a whole nother subject.
We won't go down that one.
But anyway, so the Fed, the rule's always been we don't try to keep inflation at about 2%. I think it really ought to be 0. I mean, there shouldn't.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be?
Well, if you just keep printing more money, and you've only got, the more money you print, the more inflation you're going to get. So that's always been the frustrating part for me. Is like, well, why do you keep printing money? And they're like, well, people are hoarding money. They're not spending money. Okay. Well, why are they not spending money? Well, they don't have faith in the market. Okay. So what are you going to do? Well, we're going to print more money and we're going to give it to the banks and tell the banks to loan the money out. Oh, so you're going to make money really cheap so people start throwing it around again. Okay. So when we start throwing the money around again, this is how we get that boom and bust cycle. Like, you remember the .com booms? Mm-hmm. Remember when we were kids and everything on TV was sponsored by .com, pets.com, .com this, .com
I wish I was
that.
alive during that time and invested.
Oh my God, I'm old.
Yeah,
oh Lord.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was born in that time.
What was your first home entertainment system?
I don't even remember.
Let's see. What year were you born?
96.
96. Oh, okay. So, man, the first generation Xbox.
Oh, you mean like that? I remember PS1, PS2.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, yeah. Gotcha. Okay,
we were that. And then they had the old Nintendos. Those were sick.
So I had an original Nintendo.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, but okay. So it gives you. Yeah, I date people by their first video game. That's how I'm like, okay. That's how I know. They're like, man, Pong. I'm like, whoa, really?
Damn.
Do you get Social Security?
Yeah.
Probably. But some Gen Xers out there are mad.
Yeah.
After that comment. But yeah. Anyway, so just scale the Fed back to that, and then start working on getting rid of it. The United States needs to go back to printing its own money. I mean, we need to do that. We don't need a Fed chairman. We don't need a banking chairman somewhere controlling things. There's a really good book written by former Fed chairman named Alan Greenspan. He wrote it right when he got out of office because I think he was in there for, I want to say, W. Bush. Daddy Bush, Clinton, and I want to say W. Bush as well too. So anyways, when he got out of office, he wrote this, pretty good book about the Fed, just different things that went on over the years, different theories, different things they try to do, and, what worked and what didn't, and mostly what didn't. So it's one of those things where just leave it alone. Because prior to having the Fed, we didn't try to mess with the markets. There wasn't a whole lot you could do. Everybody just knew, a depression came about every 10 years. It didn't last very long if you start looking at it historically, but, in the United States, we don't really teach history in the 1800s. We had so if you're reading out of your American history book, especially in high school, you get, okay, well, there's the Revolutionary War. I'm sorry. Let me back up. So there was a bunch of Indians, and then there were some Pilgrims, and then there were some Quakers, and then there was a Revolutionary War, and we threw some tea in the harbor, and then we became our own country. Betsy Ross, yada, yada, yada. War of 1812. The British got mad. We don't really know why. Well, we invaded Canada, but whatever. Anyways, we don't have to talk about that part. And I mean, and then the Civil War. That's it. And then World War I, Great Depression. That's how it gets taught. So you don't ever really hear about the economic impacts and different things that went on. So if you look back at that, what you start seeing is, we had depressions, but they came and went. Everybody kind of knew what the cycle was. My background being in the oil field, I was like, oh yeah, bust comes around about every 10 years. That's usually what happens.
Just cyclical.
Yeah, it's cyclical. Everything is. But when you start getting government interference, that's when you start having problems. So,
this is what you mean. You want less government interference.
Yeah, stop messing with it.
I got you.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if your granddad ever did this. Like when you get older, for some reason you get hot and then you get cold and you get hot and then you get cold. Usually that has to do with the fact that your elderly spouse is over there taking the thermostat, setting it on 50 when they get hot and putting it on 90 when they get cold, and just flipping it back and forth constantly. Well, that's kind of your federal government with our programs. We just keep messing with things. And, you don't have to go from one extreme to the other. If you will just tweak it just a little bit, make some slight changes and, regularly along the way, and your stuff tends to work out pretty good.
So there's too much government overreach.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Everywhere.
In everything. Everything.
Yeah. And is it as simple as greed? Like these people just want money?
Okay. So how much time we got?
As much time as you need.
Okay. Crony capitalism. Let's talk about that one. Okay. So wait a minute. Republicans going to talk about crony capitalism? Yeah. Look what's going on. Okay. Our founding fathers never envisioned corporations getting to the size that they could just walk in and buy governments. And, but that's where we're at. So, like you hear the term banana republic. That's not just a store that sells khakis. Banana Republic was a reference to all these little countries down in
Dulles brothers, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dole pineapple. So, you get down to, they were growing bananas. All right, bananas were a competition to apples. They were just a new fruit we could sell to people, and so they started going down to these countries, and they're like, hey, we want to buy some land. We're gonna hire some people. We're gonna raise some bananas. People of the country, those countries, like, yeah, that's great. Economics, okay, cool. Yeah, money, we like that. They're like, hey, we want to build a railroad. Oh, that's great. Yeah, let's build a railroad. Okay, so then they build a railroad. Before too long, wait a minute. Hey, what you guys are doing this ain't working out very good. You're tearing up a lot of property. You're starting to really cause problems in our country. We don't like that. Oh, okay. You don't like that? Oh, that's cool. All right, no problem. Let me call my friends in the government in the United States, and we'll just come in here and we'll have a little coup. And this is all pre-CIA. So, anyways, so they just take the little governments over and do whatever they want, and then they put in your puppet government. Okay, and that goes on. Yeah, I mean, to this day. Anyways. So
I was about to say, is there something that happened in the news recently?
Not going to say it stopped. Anyways, so you had all that stuff going on. So we get into crony capitalism. Okay, so this is when capitalism has. This is not capitalism. Capitalism is, hey, I went to Taco Villa. There you go, support local. Went to Taco Villa and I wanted to buy something. They wanted my money. We had an exchange. They put a price on the menu. I agreed to the price on the menu. I got my goods and services and I walked away, and, nobody shot anybody. Nobody got extorted.
No, it's pretty good.
I was like, well, your experience is different than Taco. Which Taco Villa were you at?
No, I'm saying it's so good. You never know.
I got to go to Taco Bell in Odessa to get that kind of service. But so anyway, that's capitalism, free exchange of, goods and services without extortion, without the government setting the price, without, two people coming together, agreeing upon a good and service and a price. That's capitalism. Okay. Crony capitalism is where I have a good that maybe you don't really need or want, but I really want you to buy it. So what do? I go get the government involved and we pass a regulation. Like, I don't know, car insurance. I mean, is it a good idea to have car insurance? Yeah, sure. You may get in a wreck. You may get in a hailstorm. Yeah, it makes good sense. And protect your investment. But if it's such a good idea, why does the federal government or the state government have to make you do it? Because, I mean, I got plastered all over the news because a guy decided to drag his pickup out in the middle of the road and leave it for me to run over at 9:00 at night. And and now he's suing me. So that's great. But you know what? He didn't have insurance. I paid extra money for uninsured motorists. Why do we require everybody to buy insurance? Well, because you might not buy it. You probably wouldn't buy it. If you drive an old jalopy, you're like, I'm not sending you guys, $100 a month for me to get in a wreck and then for you to give me $500. No, I mean, you wouldn't buy it, plain and simple. So you start talking about crony capitalism. You start getting on a bigger scale in this country. One of the things that you start seeing is, subsidies like, okay, SNAP program, food stamps. Okay. Let's talk about, who the number one recipient of food stamps is? Everybody like flips out on this. Walmart. And Walmart's not getting food stamps. But
people are buying it, using it at Walmart.
It's like 20, was it between 25 and 45% of their business is food stamps. Okay. So let's go down that rabbit hole. All right. So back on, this is your crony capitalism, how it got started in the food industry. Okay. So way back when we used to have, originally the subsidy programs to help poor people. It really wasn't even intended to help poor people. Originally, it was intended to help farmers because they were trying to, price stabilization. Back to that one thing we ought to let the Fed look at. Anyways, they said, okay, you know what? We don't want the prices going up so high and dropping down so low that all of a sudden everybody wants to be a farmer and then nobody wants to be a farmer when the prices go down, or all the farmers go out of business and then the next year the price is really high because there's no farmers left. We don't want to be chasing our tails with food. So federal government got involved and they said, okay, we're going to try to create, a floor for some of these prices to keep it from dropping too low. Well, what happens actually creates a ceiling, but that's another story. Anyways, so the government said, okay, we'll just go in there. We'll buy that up. So like extra milk, they go in and buy that. Ag lobby's very big. Dairy lobby's very big. They said, we're going to go in and buy that milk up. Okay. So you got to do something. What are you going to do with all this milk or this government cheese? That's what later gets created. They said, well, let's help people that are starving. Okay. People are hungry. Great. So they got the food kitchens together. So, hey, you go down there and he's like, hey, I'm poor. I don't have a job. I got a family to feed. They're like, no problem. Here's you a box. Here's here's a big giant wheel of government cheese, which is actually pretty good. Anyways, so here's your big wheel of government cheese. Let's see. The apple farmers were kind of hurting. We got a bunch of dried apples. Here's all the powdered milk you can stand. Here's, pinto beans or navy beans were real common. So just different food staples that they were trying to make sure the prices stayed, pretty consistent. You had those things come up. So, the government was buying those up and then they were giving those away to poor people to make sure they had something to eat. Okay. So the grocery stores come along and they're like, hey, that's not fair. You're taking away from our business. Those poor people, before you got involved, they'd have to go down to the church and the church would have to give them some money and then they'd have to come in here and then they'd have to buy from us. Well, yeah, kind of. People used to can, and we took care of ourselves and our friends and our family, and we didn't let people starve either. That's the other thing. Anybody tries to sell these government programs, always say, "Oh yeah, people were just starving in the streets. They're just laying out there dying." And you're like, that's really not what happened. But okay. Anyways, so the grocery store industry gets into it, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, no, you can't be doing this. Food stamps. Give all the poor people food stamps. They'll take the food stamps. They'll come here. We'll exchange it for food. We'll bring you guys back the food stamps. You give us money for the food stamps. Let's do that." So government said, "Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense." So they started doing that. Okay. So guess what? Now the grocery stores are making money off of the food subsidy plan. So now that stuff they're buying from the farmers and giving away to poor people. Now they're going through the grocery store. So now all that money's filtering to the grocery store's pocket. They're that whole industry. So what happens? You start seeing things pop up like crazy. Like, when I was a kid, I used to have this, remember do you have plastic army men? Or am I getting really old? Okay.
I used to do, yeah.
So we had these things in my grandma's house and it was in this, it was like a bucket, but it was like made out of cardboard and it was about that tall, almost the size of a 5-gallon bucket. It said potato chips on it. It's from the 1950s. That's what potato chips used to come in. They didn't just take a bag and blow it full of air like they do now. Yeah. But anyways, that's what, potato chips came in. But there was like one flavor of potato chips. There wasn't 50 flavors of potato chips. There wasn't Doritos. There wasn't all these random food items that you'd never heard of. So anyways, it was mostly, you had fruits, you had vegetables, you had some frozen stuff. You had a little bit of, canned meats. I mean, things were very common. But then you didn't have this huge explosion of junk food and highly processed foods. Highly processed foods are a great way to get rid of, like if you've got, I wouldn't say bad corn, but like corn that you couldn't sell. It didn't look good enough to sell on the cob. Maybe it's too new, it's too old, something. It's not good enough for you to put in a bag. It's not good enough for you to can. So what do? You grind it up and you make like Fritos out of it or Doritos or, something where.
Oh, no shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's what, I mean, it helps you, a lot of your processed foods, they let you get rid of low grade food commodities. Anyways, and then you turn around and sell it in the grocery store, to somebody who's got food stamps, or now we got the Lone Star card. See, Why do we get rid of the food stamps? We go to the Lone Star card. Oh, well, it's simpler and easier. Well, the banks weren't getting their part. So now they swipe that card. They get their nickel. Okay. There you go. So
Jesus.
Crony capitalism. This is how this works. See, first, so here's what you got to do with the podcast. You got to get rich, and then you're going to buy a lobbyist. And then the lobbyist is going to go to Washington, and they're going to lobby and say, look, everybody's got to have the snake pit. We need to create a public radio. Oh, wait, we already got one of this. An NPR, to make sure that everybody gets the snake pit podcast.
So is this like, when is this like happening? Like 60s, 70s, 80s?
Every day.
Like the start of all of this, like with the grocery store shit.
Oh, man. Okay. So the grocery store stuff, that's going to be going back to like the 50s. Actually, Google this sometime. Look this up about, what was it? Government cheese. That there's that story. Like, people you say that as an expression, something that you get for free or something that really people don't want. But here's the thing, though. So interesting story about that government cheese. So they're taking in all this milk. Like, we got to do something with it. How do you store milk? We'll make it into cheese. Okay. And it'll last longer. Well, they need a place to store it. Well, they had these salt mines, and they were just old. They're empty. They'd already mined all the salt out of them. The government got them really cheap. And they're like, yeah, you can just put it down there. It's cold. It's dark. Okay. So they take all this cheese, put it in those big wheels. And I'm talking like 3-4 foot diameter, giant, like picture like a truck tire, a wheel of cheese about that size. Okay. So so they load the stuff up, they put it in there. And then, do you remember cheese with a rind on it and had like orange wax around the outside?
I don't remember that.
Okay. So, you still see it in the grocery store at the deli. So what they used to do to keep cheese from going bad was they put wax on the outside of it. And, but like you probably always saw it. It's like where it was sliced off, and it was like in a half a wheel, and it's sliced, and it's got that rind on it, that wax on the outside. Anyway, so they put it down there. Well, if you don't do that to it, what happens? That cheese starts to get like a mold on the outside of it, because that's how you make cheese. Anyway, so after a while, they're like, okay, we need to fix that. So they bring that cheese in, they cut that mold off of it, they melt it back down and re-pour it. Okay. So if you talk to anybody that ever got government cheese, they got to eat that stuff when they were a kid. It made the best grilled cheese sandwiches. Well, that kind of cheese that's stored in a salt mine and melted down multiple times. They sell that in France.
It's fancy now.
It's extremely fancy. It always has been. It's very expensive. So you might have somebody who's French come over here. They visit their cousin who doesn't have any money. He's living in America, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is the cheese the government gets me, and it's better than what he can buy in France." They're like, "Wow, this is the land of milk and honey." But anyway, so they got these huge salt mines full of cheese. Reagan gets an office, and he's like looking at the budget, going, "This is stupid. We need to quit wasting money on this. Get rid of all this cheese." And like, what are you going to do with it? I don't know. Go dump it in the ocean. It was the 80s. You could do that. You could ride in the beds of pickups. Yeah, watch Stranger Things.
Jive.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, nobody got killed back then. Kids didn't disappear. Yeah. They had to run commercials to make sure your parents, knew to come get you. That's a real thing. If you ever get to see it, it's like it'd come on at night and said, "It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are?"
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, it's a real thing. Yeah, look that up, man. The 80s was pretty wild. Yeah, I caught the tail end of that.
I'm jealous.
Oh yeah, it was great. Like, go play outside, whatever. Don't come home. But not till the street lights come on. But anyway, so yeah, so Reagan's got all this cheese. What we're gonna do? We're gonna go dump it in the ocean. And anyways, everybody got mad. They're like, "We spent all this money on making this cheese. You can't do that. You got to do something with it." So they started pushing it out and giving it out as fast as they could go, just trying to get rid of that stuff as quick as they could. Got milk ads start running. Yeah.
And there we go.
Anyway, so back on your lobbying. Did you see the food pyramid?
They redid it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you see the oh God, what do you call it? The South Park episode where they're making fun of it?
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, it's hilarious. So it's got like some scientist. He calls Cartman. They're like, "What are we gonna do? The food pyramid, it's not working." And it's got Cartman calls in. He's like, "It's upside down. It's inverted. Flip it over." So they turn it over. He's like, "Oh my God, look." He's like, "Everybody, blood sugar levels are starting to stabilize," and it's got everything flipped where the meats are at the top, which you're actually supposed to be eating fats, healthy fats, all that stuff. Anyway, so now, RFK been watching, people have known this for years, but the food pyramid was put out by the USDA. It didn't have anything to do with what you should actually be eating. It was like, we've got tons of grain we need to sell. Sugar, we need to sell some of that too. You probably should eat less of that, but just enough to keep the dentists in business. And
Jesus Christ.
So you look at all this stuff and you're like, this is your government telling you to do stupid stuff that's against your own health. And We've been doing it for years. I mean, it's been going on for at least 100 years.
You're telling me not to listen to the government, and you're going to go join it.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Well, somebody's got to try to fix this nonsense.
That's true. That's true.
But it's kind of like, in this country, we call it the news. All right. Well, news is an acronym. It stands for noteworthy events, weather, and sports. Okay. Everywhere else in the world, they call it the propaganda. That's what that's known for. The difference between us and them is we believe what's on the TV. Now we're getting a lot better about
Thank
it.
God.
Yeah, COVID is.
Shout out to X.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, X, COVID. Everybody's like, yeah, no,
that really was it.
No, I'm not buying that crap.
Yeah, okay. That was the turning point for a lot of people.
Yeah. Wait, you want me to take the vaccine how many times? I'm taking another vaccine because the vaccine you gave me that said that I wouldn't get this didn't work. Okay. Yeah, no. Yeah. Everybody learned.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. So hopefully we remember and teach our children. Yeah, don't trust these people. But think for yourself. That's the number one thing you can do.
Are people really doing that though?
Oh, God, I hope so. I really hope. I mean, I don't see too many people riding down the road in their car wearing a mask by themselves anymore. So.
Not around here.
Yeah, that's true.
But everywhere else, maybe.
Well, if you dig deep enough, you can always find stupid. But, fortunately, it's not just walking the streets in Lubbock, Texas. Not too often anyways. But yeah, I mean, so this is crony capitalism. This is where you get into this. So if you're asking me, what do you want to fix when you get to Congress? Ban lobbying altogether. The only person who's got any business calling your congressman is you. You and your constituents. There's 700,000 people roughly in every congressional district. That's who ought to be calling their congressman and saying, "Hey, man, I like this or I don't like that." That's what we ought to be doing. We don't need the big conglomerates getting together, hiring somebody, going down there, making huge donations to congressmen and senators, and we don't need PACs. PACs are a joke; those need to go away too. Political action committees, you familiar with those? I
am, and I'm very happy that Republicans and the Democrats I've had on this podcast all are like away from that.
Oh yeah,
especially APAC.
Yeah,
but yeah, everybody. But a lot of them are like. That's one of the questions I ask them. Like, do you take money from corporations? Like, I think a lot of younger people are paying attention to that.
Yeah, well, we're looking because we watched them sell out mom and dad. Now they're trying to sell us out, and then
we're paying for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, so I was born in '83. So what does that make me? I'm like a Xennial or something like that. I think it's the term, late Gen X or early millennial or whatever you want to call it. But anyways, yeah, we all kind of watch this nonsense, and we're going, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. And then 2020 put it on full display for everybody. So, yeah, you start pointing in Washington, D.C., problems that you got up there. One, get rid of the lobbying. That stops all the nonsense.
How do we do that?
You get congressmen to get in there and vote for it. But I'm going to tell you something else here. Okay, so why don't they do that? All right, if you've got Republican congressmen, if you're in a swing district, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. If you're in a swing district, they can go either way. Then what happens is, those guys get in there and they don't really want to go too far to the right or too far to the left. Because if they do, somebody back home is going to put them out of office. So those guys, they're walking a tightrope. They're trying to be really careful. District 19. We're as red as it comes. We're as red as the color in your shirt. That is all there is to it. Lubbock County is the third reddest county in the entire country.
Damn.
So you can go to Washington, D.C. and do everything that the conservatives and Republicans have ever dreamed of getting done, and do it 100%. You can get on Fox News 7 days a week and shout it from the rooftops. Nobody back home is going to use that as a way to put you out of office. So if you represent this district and you're a Republican, you better remember that, and you better be getting out there and loudly proclaiming, "Hey, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we want." It doesn't have to be just Thomas Massey out there, beating the podium saying, "Hey, I want the Epstein files." I want to know if my country, I want to know if Jeffrey Epstein got over. Jeffrey Epstein, the CIA, and the Mossad got over on all of my legislatures, and sent little honeypots in there. He's got pictures of them on the Lolita Express. Were they out on Epstein Island? Yeah, I want to know that, and I want to see them all in prison if they were involved in that. Every one of them. It doesn't just have to be a Thomas Massey out there saying that. That's what everybody in this district. I've never met anybody. It's like, maybe we shouldn't worry about the Epstein files. I don't know one person that doesn't think that's a problem. And, I'm kind of concerned because, Trump's kind of splitting his base there. I'm happy with a lot of stuff he's doing, but that's
literally the one thing I
voted for that. I want that.
Me too.
Yeah. So, Yeah. So, but we're a deep red district, and we need to start acting like it. Our congressmen need to be walking in there, saying whatever needs to get said, doing whatever needs to get done, and that's what I want to see. What does
this district represent? Like, what is it?
Oh, like the area?
Yeah. What does it want? Like as a whole, what would you say? District 19 is like, what are its values? What is
the number? Well, okay. First off, pro-life. We're pro-life in this district. That's going to be a huge thing. So if you're representing this district, you ought to be leading the way on that. Number one. Number two, agriculture. We're a big ag community. So, we can talk about subsidies when we can kick all that crap around all we want. And then Congress has been doing it for years. It's never helped. So don't even start. Just go all the way back to, let's go back to the 90s. Bill Clinton was in office. And Brazil sued us in the World Court and said, oh, well, the way y'all subsidize your ags, it's not fair. Okay. Anyways, Brazil buys the tractor for the farmer. They give them everything. Sorry, get my RFK voice is coming in.
Uh-oh. It's that Brazilian voodoo.
Yeah, probably. Somebody's got a little voodoo doll they're poking with a stick right now on the neck. But anyway, so they sued us in the World Court. So what is the Clinton administration? They sent some lawyers. They sent basically tax attorneys down there to argue this thing. They didn't know anything about agriculture. So they let us get screwed pretty badly in the World Court. All right. So, yeah. So they're basically saying, okay, well, you can't subsidize this way and you can't do this and you can't do that. Okay. Well, who cares? Screw Brazil. What do we care? They weren't buying our stuff anyways. So what? Run it the way that makes the most sense and then go from there. But the other thing that happened too at that point, you got the EPA. Just cotton. Okay. So you grow the cotton, you gin the cotton, you bale the cotton. All right. Now what are you going to do? So now you're going to make thread out of it, thread, yarn, string, whatever. So then you're going to weave that. So you need the textile mills. You need the dyeing plants. You need all that stuff that's how you get to a pair of blue jeans. Okay. So the EPA made these guys' lives a living hell. Starting back in the 70s, they're like looking at the dyeing plants going, well, you can't throw the extra in the river. Okay, well, all right, fine. We won't do it that way. Well, what can we do with it? And they just made it so ridiculous to where they were like, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm going. So they packed up, they loaded up, they left. They went to China, Mexico, Pakistan, India. Okay. Countries are like, we don't care what you throw in the river. Come on over here.
They don't give a fuck.
Yeah. So he pulled that out of the river too. So anyways, so they moved over there. Okay, rather than trying to help them clean up the process. Now they couldn't do that to the coal power plants because everybody was like, all right, no EPA, we need electricity. But actually American coal is the cleanest burning coal in the entire world. That's a whole other topic.
You're darn husky.
What's it? Yeah, exactly. So so they went to these other countries. Well, guess what? We're still building the equipment to run these mills, these textile mills. But we're building it in the United States. We're designing it in the United States for a Chinese customer. So then here's what happens. So you got all that. So now you got all this cotton, right? And you're the cotton farmer. It's been baled. It's been ginned. It's been baled. All right, it's loaded up. It's ready to sell. All right. So then you start getting paid out on your shares of it, and however much you had, however much per pound you've got, and it comes in a couple of different payments. Anyways, we're not getting a very good price for that. And the reason being is that we're selling it all to China, not like the individual Chinese factories. It's not like steel that you sell to Ford, Chevy, GMC, anything like that. It's going to the Chinese government. Chinese government's the one that's making negotiations. They're like, we really don't need much of your cotton right now, even though it's the best cotton. It's the toughest tensile strength. By far. Like the long strand cotton is like what we call Egyptian cotton a lot of times. It's great for making sheets and that kind of thing. We grow some of the best of that in the world in California and in Georgia. What we grow around here a lot is short strand cotton, some of the toughest cotton in the world, and it's great for blue jeans, that kind of thing. What they grow in China is absolute garbage. What they're growing over there is barely good enough to stuff a teddy bear. So what do they do? Well, they were subsidizing their farmers who were to the tune of like $2.40, and our farmer was getting like 60 cents. Anyways, so what the Chinese did, because they're smart, they're not, these guys aren't stupid. They're like, why are we paying our farmer this? Why don't we have them go grow food, which we're having to import anyways? Let's just have them do that. We'll buy the American cotton. And they're like, well, how are we going to do that? Because if we don't grow our cotton, then we're not going to have any way to argue with them on price. They're like, oh, well, no, we got an idea. So they buy all the cotton. So they got all the warehouses. So what do? They lie to us. Oh, yeah, we had a great cotton crop. We don't need much of your cotton. Yeah, we can only give you 61 cents. But, here, we're going to help you out. We're going to do you a favor. we'll go ahead and buy what you've got because we don't want you guys to go out of business. We're going to help you out. And what do? They screw you on the price. Kind of like, what was it? If you go to sell your car and, it's worth something, but the sales guy's not going to tell you that. He's going to try to get it off you as cheap as possible. Yeah. So just think of a really shady used car salesman. That's what you get that's what our farmers are up against when they deal with China. So anyway, so they get our cotton, then they make their blue jeans, they make whatever with it, and then they turn around and they sell it right back to us. So there's your problem. So what do you need to do? How do you need to fix that? I don't have a problem reaching across the aisle. What's the guy that always shows up in the Carhartt stuff? Fetterman, the bald-headed guy is a Democrat from Pennsylvania. He had a stroke. He ran against Dr. Oz and
Fetterman.
Yeah, Fetterman. So I don't have a problem calling that guy up. It's like, hey, do you need like jobs or something in your community? He's like, yeah, we need jobs. It's like, what about like factory jobs? Yeah, cool. We could use that. Sweet. Let's, what do we got to do to set up a dyeing plant? What do we got to do to get a textile mill in here? Because I would rather see West Texas cotton farmers be able to sell their cotton to a guy in Pennsylvania who's got a plant up there. So yeah, that's what I want to see happen. I know Trump's done a lot of stuff, pulling manufacturing, coming back with the tariffs. Like, hey, you know what? It's cheaper. Let's come back to the United States. His first term in office, he got Carrier air conditioners not to move a plant down to Mexico, to go ahead and stay here and do it. But
you need a water?
Oh, I got one right here. Sorry, I've been fighting the allergies or whatever we got going on.
The new COVID.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, the new COVID. It's gonna be just like the old COVID.
I don't know. Apparently, there's a sickness going around.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Yeah. It's that time of year.
Yeah, true. I forgot.
I'm sure somebody will government up in a solution for it.
Jesus.
But yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we start talking about that, like District 19, and what are we all about? So definitely agriculture.
Yeah,
oil.
Pro-life. You said, can we go with that one?
Oh yeah, sure.
What does that mean? What are we looking at?
Pro-life on that one. So we overturned Roe v. Wade. Thank God. Okay, so there's no telling how much of your generation and mine was aborted. And that's going back all the way to the 1920s, going back to eugenics. I mean, all the bad stuff that we talk about. Hitler, he actually learned it from the United States, a lot of the Democrat Party back then. Margaret Sanger, if you've ever heard of her, she was actively trying to abort the black race. That was one of her things. She's also the founder of Planned Parenthood.
I have heard this. This.
Oh yeah, look it up. Yeah, they are. These are not good people. So a lot of the stuff they pushed with eugenics back then, there's actually what's that term? Idiot, imbecile. These are actually medical terms originally. So there's a really interesting court case where there was a woman in, I think it's I want to say it's like North Carolina. I'm trying to remember now. Anyways, and the state could forcibly sterilize you if they said if a woman was considered to be a third generation imbecile. Basically, if your IQ was low enough and you were a third generation person with a low enough IQ, you could be labeled an imbecile and then sterilized. So here's what happened. So this lady doesn't have much money, and there's a rich man's son. He goes out slumming one night. He picks her up. He gets her pregnant. So wealthy family wants to cover this up. So what do? They have her rounded up, and then they have a doctor declare her an imbecile and have her sterilized. So, or the state does this basically, and she sues the state, and she has a lawyer, goes to their state Supreme Court, and she doesn't sue because her rights were violated. Different way of thinking. Then she sued because she claimed the state did not prove that she was a third generation imbecile. She's like, no, he said, you don't have any proof of that. My dad was not an imbecile. My granddad was not an imbecile. I'm not even debating whether or not I'm an imbecile, but but I am definitely not a third generation one. So anyways, they forcibly, forced this one into an abortion, had her sterilized. That stuff really went on. So, as a country, we're moving in the right direction. Roe v. Wade. You go back and you start looking into that. Well, the woman that was represented in that didn't even want to have an abortion in the first place. That never gets talked about. We've done away with that. Next things we seriously need to start looking at is, and this is going to get into your water supply conversation too, is birth control, progesterone. Having a woman be on progesterone her whole life, because what it does is fools a woman's body into believing that she's pregnant at the time, so she can't get pregnant if she's already pregnant. That's really not healthy for you long term. But nobody wanted to talk about it. But now we're talking about it. So, I think we're going to start seeing I don't know about elimination of it, but we're definitely going to start seeing a lot more conversations about it. So that's why I'm glad to see in your generation coming up, that you guys are so much more tech savvy, curious, looking into things, the podcasting stuff. I mean, Joe Rogan has put so much stuff out there. It's got people going, wait a minute, what? Hold on a second.
It's crazy.
Is that real? And then looking it up, and then you're like, oh my God, that's a real thing. Okay, well, that wasn't in my history book. Even those we're starting to question. So, anyways, for good reason.
A pro-life means no abortion.
So no abortion
at all.
Yeah.
In any case.
Yes. So definitely not elective. And when you start getting into what was it? Cases of rape and incest, that's the two that they throw out there. And they're like, look, you don't make the rule based off the exception. You make the rule based off of, what's common. So when you start getting into those exceptions, even in the there's quite a few people that are actually out there that are speaking out on it, that are sitting there and saying, hey, I'm alive today because my dad raped my mother. And actually, one of those is Jack Nicholson. The guy who played the Joker in the first Batman movie. So he was a pretty far left guy. When he's younger, he's more political and more vocal about it. But then we come around, he's like, "What do you think about abortion?" He's like, "I think it's terrible. It shouldn't exist." And they're like, "Well, why do you think that?" And he said, "Well," he said, "I got a little story for you. So you see, so my mother was a showgirl in the 1920s, and she got raped and impregnated, and she was 18, and my grandmother found out about it, and she was going to have an abortion, and my grandmother talked her out of it. She had me, and then my grandmother raised me." He said, "I didn't find out till I was an adult that who I thought was my much older sister was actually my mother." And he said, I wouldn't be alive today. So, I've got a friend of mine that, he doesn't mind me telling the story. I just don't ever use his name, but, his mother got pregnant very young, and, his grandmother wanted her to have an abortion, and he survived a botched abortion. Anyways, his big scar on the side of his head. And, he's like, yeah, he said, he said, I survived that. And then they figured out that she was past the point where it was even legal to do that. So then they wouldn't even provide my mom with any care. So he said, so then I was born, and he said, I had a lot of problems developmentally, because of that. And he said, but, he said, by about junior high, he said, everything had kind of normaled out. And he said, I went on to graduate high school. He's married, he's got a couple of kids. I used to coach soccer with the guy. And I don't even know how we got on the subject, but he told me about it. And he's like, yeah, he said, man, I didn't know about that until I was 18. I was like, really? And I was like, how'd you not know about that? He's like, well, it's not exactly what you talk about at Christmas, but I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's true. But anyways, what he said was that, they're at church and in Bible study, and his grandmother, he said, which was always really sweet to him and just kind of, really favored him more than his cousins, that, she finally just kind of broke down about it. And she was like, and told him how sorry she was and what had happened, and she was just afraid for her mom, and didn't like her, didn't like the guy, didn't like his biological father, and all this other stuff. Yeah. And anyway, so he's like, wow, and I was like, man, are you and Grandma good? And he's like, man, she was always really sweet to me, I didn't know all that, but hey, I'm still here. People make mistakes, but yeah, the
only reason I bring it up and I always talk about it is because I'm pretty pro-life, but I'm also a freedom individual. How does that not impede on somebody's individual freedom to do what they want with their body?
Do your rights? So what I has always heard it said is your rights into the tip of my nose. And okay, biologically, first I always get a laugh out of this. Fetus is just Latin. It means baby. And like, oh, well, if I call it a fetus, I'm okay with that. I can live with that a little easier. Well, if I call it a clump of cells, well, wait a minute. It's got different DNA. That's obviously not you. That's not the mother's body. So, sure.
Because I'm with you.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I'm with you. And
but what's the argument to that? Hey, give them a chance. If they had,
Gus had a good.
If you're going to err on the side of, I would rather err on the side of life. I would rather get it wrong and the child be born. Okay.
That's what Gus was saying. It's like, it's not you. There's another individual in you.
Yeah. It's a whole other person.
Just fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I've always been at on that argument. And now Okay, that being said, all us church going Republicans, when somebody's pregnant, now's the time to be supportive. We can't be judgmental. You don't get to be ugly. You don't get to pull all that bullshit and start throwing the Bible around, because I guarantee you there's more verses to hit you upside the head with than there is her. So anyways, but that's back to how decency and how we treat people. So what are you seeing on the right? You're starting to see these pregnancy centers. I've got a cousin, an ophthalmologist in Dallas that's pretty involved with one of those. And what they will do is, I mean, they're funded through mostly donations, but it's a pro-life alternative to Planned Parenthood, which it's kind of ironic. Planned Parenthood, basically everything they do is designed to keep you from becoming a parent. But anyway, so if a woman's pregnant and goes in there, they're like, hey, that's great. Okay, congratulations, you're going to be a mother. Let's do an ultrasound. Let's show you your baby. Let's figure out how far along you are. When's the last time you saw a gynecologist? And where are you living? Do you have a place to live? Do you have a job? Do you have food? Do you have all these things? And okay, you don't? Okay, cool. Well, let's help you get a place to live. They're working with
what's this called?
Oh man, I need to find out the name. I will find out the name for you. But yeah, so they're just it's basically a pro-life planning or pregnancy center. So anyways, do you not have a place to live? Okay, we'll help you find a place to live. Do you not have food? All right, we're going to help you get food. We got a, church over here has got has a food pantry. We'll get you taken care of on that. Do you have any clothes or anything, for maternity wear? Okay, we can get you that. So they work with a whole bunch of other charities to help these women get anything they need. They also do counseling. They do parenting classes.
Nice.
If it's just a woman, they're going to help her. If the father's there and he's involved, they're going to help him. So Christian-based, church-based organization. And great. I mean, we've got those. Those things are available. So but they're not the funding scam that Planned Parenthood is. So you ever go look and see how much money you see all these grants and stuff like that go to Planned Parenthood, but then you look and see who Planned Parenthood donates to. So they're chipping back 10-20% through their lobbyists back to congressmen who support Planned Parenthood. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I will say though, all that aside, we gotta do something about making people want to have more kids. Boy, oh boy.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute. All right. How much was it we gave Ukraine? So far, Ukraine, we've given them about $185 billion. $185 billion. Okay. Rather than giving parents $3,000 off each year for their kid, on your taxes, which, amounts to nothing at the end of the day, why don't we just give the parent $3,000 per kid?
Well, there's some money right there, huh?
I can live with that.
Yeah.
I can live with that. You got a social security number for the child? Okay, how old is the child? We can keep up with how old the child is. Send me a picture of the child. That's something. Okay, fine. We'll give you $3,000. Why not?
It goes a long way for a lot of people.
Yeah, that would go a very long way. That would cover a big chunk of your child care if we're doing that. Maybe it'll help you get where you can stay home, where one parent can stay home with the kids. So that's another thing I'm glad to see with y'all's generation and mine. A lot of us are really trying to get back to a one income household. And that's just, if you can afford it, it's just better.
It's kind of hard when you can't.
It's friggin' tough. Yeah. but if you can afford it, it's better. I know, my wife stayed home with, got to stay home with our daughter for 7 years when I was working in the oil field. And, I was working 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. My wife was a school teacher, and we figured out what when we paid for daycare for a newborn for a month, school teachers get paid once a month. She was basically making $600, and I was like teaching all month. I was like, oh, forget that. I'll go pick up an extra shift. You stay up for $600 for $600. Yeah. You just stay home.
I think I saw something. Correct me, people, if they're listening. Mm-hmm. Like a single income household in the 90s where you could provide for your family. Mm-hmm. In order to do that now. Mm-hmm. Both, like it's equivalent to now, both the parents making $250,000.
Yeah, and
it's like
it's not far. Yeah, it's basically. Like that, right? It's ridiculous what it takes, but how are you trying to live too is going to be the other thing.
And
also,
and where?
Well, yeah, where's a big component of that because like
here.
Minivans. All right, when's the last time you saw a minivan or was in one? Like you remember like the Ford Aerostars. They used to make these really cheap minivans way back when, and then you had like the Chevrolet made the Vandura, and that was the one that had the couch in the back that folded down. And, it had a TV. Oh yeah,
he brought it back. It was cool.
So okay, that was luxury, was the Vandura. Okay, but what was really common was like a Ford Aerostar van. A lot of people had those. It's like if you had more than 2 kids, or if you knew you were going to have to coach soccer for the rest of your life, you just went ahead and bought the Ford Aerostar and the Chevy Astro vans. Those two, those are the other ones that I remember. And then like Oldsmobile had this weird one, looked like a suppository. But anyways, so those were really common. Okay. But when you drove around and you looked, if you went into a neighborhood that had less money, you saw those there. But then you drove into a neighborhood that had a lot more money, you still saw those minivans. Everybody had the minivan, or they had the station wagon in the 80s and the 70s. Okay, everybody drove those, but you spent your money on your house. So, so I think it's funny. Like I've got my sister lives in Bernie. So if I go over there and visit them, and they're in a nice neighborhood, and anyway, so you drive through there, and but they pay through the nose to live there. It's expensive. So yeah. But when I drive through there, what's everybody drive? Everybody's got a Suburban, or a Suburban or a minivan. It's the two things that you see all the time. But I go over into the part of town, I see the same Suburban, the same minivan, and it's kind of like, okay, kind of scratching my head here, going, we'll spend more money to live in what we perceive as a nicer house or a nicer neighborhood. And, people will do that, but it just eats into that income. So if you can afford to do that, and live in that really nice neighborhood and you're a doctor, okay, great. And then do the one income household, thing, you're great. If you can't afford to do that and you don't live in as nice a neighborhood,
most Americans,
if you don't live in as nice of a neighborhood, and but you can still do the one income household, you're just as good off. You're just as better off as he is. You're just as well off. Excuse me. Just one parent's always going to spend the time with the kids. One parent's always going to be available to go to the PTA meetings, be involved in kids' school. Nobody's having to take off work to go down to school and see what's going on with the kids. That stability is worth it at just about every income level.
Yeah, we gotta start having kids, people. Jesus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Why import Americans when you can grow them? So
that's a whole different.
That's conspiracy. A whole other story.
That one for me is like spooky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All the factors that go into why we're not having kids.
Well, shoot. Let's look at all the plastics.
Yeah, at the end of the day, infertility is a huge one.
Oh yeah.
It scares me.
Yeah, that's a big one. And especially in men with testosterone rates dropping, sperm counts are just dropping through the roof.
What's funny is my stepdad was like, "Why are all these Hims commercials?" Like,
why are there so many pecker picker upper pills out there?
Man. And he noticed it recently, and I was like, "Cause all these motherfuckers are, plastics. They're I said they're all watching porn, and it's like they're all in SSRIs and shit, like eating shit.
Yeah.
And just, of course, their shit don't work.
Okay, so like Viagra. I remember when Viagra first came out, the little blue pill, and the commercials were hilarious. All right, and what was that one? There was one that was completely fake, but it took like 10 years before they figured it out. And then that company got sued, but they had the most ridiculous commercials. But anyways, like those little commercials, like for men who roll out of bed at night, Viagra.
Yeah,
put your kickstand down.
Like when it was for you guys, like when those commercials were for like older men.
Yeah.
This shit's for like 30-year-olds.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm like,
well, but all those guys were old. They all had gray hair. And
that might be the time to use it.
Yeah. That kind of made sense then. Okay. But I remember, because that was the gripe, was it Medicare? Medicare would pay for your Viagra, but not for your allergy medication.
Oh, well,
yeah, it's like, well, folks. But who was it? Bob Dole. He was a senator back then. He ran for president too, and he looked like he's old when he's up there. He looked like the crypt keeper. And he's like, Bob Dole supports Viagra, and they were like, oh, well, that's why. Okay, Bob. Wait a minute, Bob, you're advertising for these guys. And you get to vote on what pills they pay for. And wait a minute, hold on a second here. Wait a minute, Bob. Hold on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. You're taking the Viagra to help keep your pants up, to keep that wallet, and that's in your back pocket from weighing them down. Wait a minute. So anyway, you saw that stuff, but now you're seeing this younger and younger. So now what do we know? Okay, first off, if you are in a city that has recycled water, and I bring this up because of the Lake 7 project that's coming up out here, right before Buffalo Lake, we're gonna build a new lake, and that's gonna be called Lake 7. Lake 7 is gonna collect all the water that runs, like all these playa lakes that are all connected together underground through tunnels. All that water drains back to the canyon, and then all that water is going to drain out there. Well, Lubbock's affluent water, they're going to treat it and clean it back to stream quality. Then they pump it into the creek, and then it has to run so many miles, before the city can bring that water back in, treat it, and reuse it. We can clean out the nitrates. We can take care of that. We can take care of a lot of things. We don't know how to get the pharmaceuticals out. So
like people flush down the drain and shit,
right? But how many women are on birth control or are on progesterone?
Oh, yeah,
70% of progesterone is excreted in the urine. So then you're gonna flush it down the toilet. It's gonna go into the creek.
Get a Brita filter.
It's gonna go back here. Yeah, we're gonna circulate that through everybody. Here's the other thing: the SSRIs that you mentioned. Okay, we don't know how to get that stuff out of the water either. Everybody's got to get a little low-level dose of Prozac. So, hey, maybe crime will decrease. I don't know. Everybody will be a little more chill. Maybe we'll see. But yeah.
Well, I don't know because everybody's on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the other thing too. So, did you see in Florida where they were talking about they're like, please stop flushing your meth down the toilet, when the cops show up, because now we got meth gators.
The gators.
Okay, I remember the movie Cocaine Bear. So I was like, that's going to be the sequel.
Jesus.
So, meth gators. Yeah. So, I mean, this stuff, I mean, it's not, I mean, we don't live in a bubble. I mean, we live in an environment, and what we do does matter. Okay. What's his name? Oh God, InfoWars. Alex Jones.
Gay.
Remember he got on there and he's like, they're making the frogs gay. You got to stop it. We got to stop the frogs from all turning gay. You know what he was talking about was atrazine, and everybody laughed at him for it. But the thing about it was true. Atrazine in the water supply, what it was doing with those frogs was male frogs. It's like Jurassic Park, where they were talking about that. They're like, oh, look, well, nature finds a way. And I was like, really? Those frogs got a hold of atrazine on that island? Okay. And then some of them started converting from males, and I mean, they didn't make little drag frogs. I mean, this wasn't little RuPaul frogs hopping around that just looked like women. These were, these were fully functional female frogs. Amphibians can completely convert over like that. Anyways, that's atrazine. Well, what is that doing to people? And now
probably making men weaker.
Yeah, exactly. That testosterone level is dropping. That's not a good thing. So now you've got the lower birth rates, you got lower sperm counts. This is where you're getting so many effeminate men. So I mean, is it turning the frogs gay? Is it just making the men weaker? Looks like it. Looks like it to me.
Definitely.
Yeah, but
that one.
Oh yeah, and that's just the atrazine. That's the progesterone we're putting in the water. That's the antidepressants. But right now this is the best country in the world. I mean, as far as quality of life is concerned. But we take all the antidepressants. I mean, we are
too much time on our hands.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true
Shit's
too.
Too good.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we all need to struggle.
Or did the Sacklers just destroy us?
Oh yeah, we just need to have mandatory dodgeball once a week. Just to get that back
fun.
up. Yeah,
That'd
it would.
Fun.
Everybody. Yeah, you'd have a lot less shootings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, get that person that's about to put you over the edge. Get them with the red dodgeball, the face. Yeah, just ease that tension.
I thought about starting a dodgeball league. I really want to.
I think you should start one at the mall. Just go up there and just nail your friend with a dodgeball and see how many strangers you could get to play. I mean, it might get you arrested.
Some Karen, exactly.
But it would be a good story.
It would be. But some Karen would call the cops on us and ruin the fun.
Can you imagine being on that jury? Wait a minute. He assaulted you with a dodgeball? Mm-hmm. What color? Traditional red? Okay. I don't know if that counts.
I've never been on a jury. Kind of want to. Seems like it'd be interesting.
There's a really good old movie named called Jury Duty with Pauly Shore. You need to watch that one sometime. It's pretty hilarious. But yeah, okay, we've got this stuff going on. Is this a major issue? Is this something a congressman ought to be worried about? Yeah, yeah, it is. Start looking at these chemicals. What about? I mean, now I'm so glad we got RFK. I just wish that guy would get his voice back permanently. But
let's table that because I have to pee so bad.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna go piss out my SSRIs real quick. What's your RFK?
Oh, RFK. Okay. No, I'm just glad he's in there and he's talking about this stuff because I mean, before this was just like a bunch of really crunchy granola moms out in California, and people start pointing this stuff out. I mean, how was it? God, we haven't even talked about the preservatives yet, but okay, red dye 40, yellow 5. Okay, I saw stuff. I was like, it's probably not that big a deal. And then you start reading about how, wait a minute, this stuff's banned in Europe. Oh, why is it banned in Europe? And then you start reading up and you're like, why are you putting that crap in our food? And then I saw this. It was a meme on Facebook, but I mean, it was a real photograph. It was a real article. It was this kid that was his science. We don't do science fair anymore. My kids never did science fair.
No way.
I know. I mean, I missed out on that. Your dad doing your project, but anyway. So I had some really good ideas. I've been working on it. Yeah. So anyway, what was it? This kid's project was how much sawdust can you put in Rice Krispies before you can taste it? And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, that's the food industry, like right there in a nutshell. Okay. That's, then I was sitting there, I was trying to find the article. I was like, how much? I was like, where's this kid's number? I kind of want to know actually. So yeah.
Yeah. Why is our food industry so shit? Like, why is it bad?
Well, this is back to crony capitalism.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, this is like, are you trying to make food or are you trying to make a profit? Which is it? I mean, can you make good food and make a profit and still make a profit off of it without having to, use some, crazy ingredients or just you use such subpar ingredients. And don't get me wrong, Americans, there for a long time, we wanted something, like the what do you call it? The double gulp. I mean, that's 64 ounces at 7-Eleven, right?
Yeah, but that's American.
I know. Do you need do you need a half a gallon of
like
cola?
Ron Swanson, you could just because you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we went wrong, man.
It says because I can.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the issue of a lot of things, right? Profit over people's.
Well, we try to blame. Okay, so you're going to listen to all the lefties. Oh, that's capitalism. No, it's not. That's called consumerism. That's where people are trying to get all they can get, and they want the cheapest price possible. Well, okay, fine. You get the cheapest price possible, and what do you get? You get junk, and eventually you get junk. But we just kept going for that lower price, Like I have my great granddad's Craftsman circular saw, right, and it still runs. I still use it. It works good. I mean, I've got a newer one that I bought that is plastic that I dropped and cracked the handle on it. It also has a lower horsepower motor in it too, and that one I put a new cord on it because I nicked the cord pretty good once. And but other than that, I mean that thing is solid. But when you go through there and you look at it, like if I open that one up and compare it to a new one, the connectors for the wires where they connect on different spots, and inside of all that one, everything is soldered on, and the connectors they're bigger. It's bigger gauge wire on everything. It was built right. It was made to last. It was back when, people took a lot of pride in what they were trying to make. We weren't trying to hit a certain price point. I've got a little bit of background in textiles. I used to have an online store called roughneckstuff.com. We sold flame retardant clothing for the wool field, safety boots, that kind of thing. But I started buying out these uniform supply companies. And when you go in there and we were buying like 5,000 pounds of clothes at a time, clean it up, put it for sale. And anyways, the blue jeans that we were getting there, one time I priced them, and it was like was it a pair of what was that brand? Bulwark. Okay. Yeah. Bulwark blue jeans. All right. I looked those things up and I was like, oh yeah. Okay. At Walmart, they're like, they're a little more money. They're about $120. Normally they sell for, cheaper brands sell for about $80. So I go look it up for that exact same pair of jeans. And I looked it up by the model number that was on it. I was like, wait a minute, these things are $300. Hold on a second. Well, so I start reading up on it. And it's like, oh, they're not sold to the public. They're only sold for industrial purposes. For the uniform supply companies, they got to be able to stand 140-degree temperature water. They had to the dyes had to last. They couldn't fade. They had to last multiple years. The weave was all ripstop, and I was like, that's neat. So I started talking to the guy with Alsco that I was buying from, and I was like, wow, okay, so explain this to me. And he's like, oh yeah. He said, okay, the jeans that you buy at the store, you go get your Levi's or whatever, even like your Dickies or, stuff that he's like we've got Dickies here and they're great. The ones you buy at the store that you pay, that you can get at Walmart for $40. And he said, those things last 2 years. And the reason being is because those are sold commercially. These are industrially sold. So on the commercial side, that pair of blue jeans needs to last long enough for you to think you got a good deal, but tear up soon enough that you will, that you'll come back and spend more money.
Goddamn.
Light bulbs. Remember how long does the light bulb last? some of the first light bulbs ever made, they're still burning. I mean, there's one at a firehouse in California. It's never been turned off in like 115 years.
Nice.
Okay. And you know what I'm doing every weekend? I'm changing a friggin' light bulb. So how much do you want for that light bulb? I mean, let's talk, I mean, give me the 90-year light bulb. Actually, I'll tell you one thing. I just bought a washer and dryer, $4,800. Okay. It's a Speed Queen, like when you go in the, you go in the laundromat and they have Speed Queen brand.
Okay.
And they're 25. These things last 25 to 30 years. Okay. That washer and dryer cost me about $1,000 more than the Samsung that I had before. But the Samsung, in 10 years, I have had that thing apart 3 or 4 times, and the parts are pain to find. And then I'm going through there. I'm like, man, some of the stuff is just made cheap, and like the shell of the thing is like kind of flimsy and stuff. Like the dryer wasn't running right, so I'm in there looking at it, and I finally find where. I think, one of my kids threw a bunch of tennis shoes in there, and there's like, okay, there's a dent in the backside. So now I'm taking this thing apart and tapping it back, trying to get it smooth. I got my Harbor Freight body kit that I bought, and we were tapping on this thing in the garage, trying to fix it, get this thing back square and back right and running right again. And I'm sitting here going,
Most people won't even do that. They just go buy a new one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but you can go get a washer and dryer. That's what we did in the oil field. We go buy a different washer and dryer every hitch because you were going to throw your greasy clothes in it and tear it up anyways. But I mean, hit the garage sale, $100, and get a new set. But I don't know. I'll fix stuff. So so I bought the nice one that I'm not going to have to work on for 25 years. I'm about to be 43. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, good. When I'm 68,
so
I'm not going to worry about this.
Crony capitalism.
Yeah, crony capitalism, consumerism. That's the one we did to ourselves. That's.
But boy, is it sweet.
Yeah. Well, but it's not that way everywhere. If you go over to, if you ever travel over to Europe, Americans, we have tons of clothes over here. Like we have so many clothes that it's actually like it's a problem at the dump. Like when like Katrina happened, and that big. Oh man, you've been little. Okay, so Louisiana getting hit by a hurricane. One of the really bad ones.
In Katrina.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it was like what 2004 or 5. Yeah. Okay. So you were like 8 or 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like when Katrina hit, George W. Bush, president's time, he gets in trouble, and he's like, people are asking, should we send blankets or should we send water bottles, and he's like, no, just send your cash. And the thing about it was, I mean, he caught a lot of flack for that because there were little old ladies that were knitting blankets and stuff they were going to send for babies and stuff like that over there. Here's the problem. When you have a disaster like that and you start getting this flood of supplies, you got to warehouse it, you got to store it, you got to figure out what to do with it. And sending somebody, sending them clothes and stuff, you don't know. I mean, okay, I got a size pair of 36, 34 jeans. All right, who fits these? I mean, now you're trying to match it all up. That's why they would say, just send the money and then we'll take somebody, we'll go buy what they need to get. And then that way you can do it that way. It's much more, it's an easier exchange that way. Well, in this country, we've got so many clothes. We've got so much stuff that we try to figure out what to do with it. We try to give it away. We try to donate it. Majority of the clothes that you donate. Wait, you still do lawn care?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you ever get bag of rags? Did you ever buy that, or box of rags? You ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's like a box is about, I don't know, like 2 by 2, and it was nothing full of like rags just packed in there. Well, if you pull it out, it's like T-shirts and stuff that are cut up. So like when you donate to American Council of the Blind or Goodwill. Okay, the stuff that's just junk, they sell it per pound. They get like, a nickel a pound or something like that. It winds up with a company like that shreds them, and then they put them into like bag of rags and use them for different stuff like that. Or actually, a lot of it winds up getting shipped to Africa.
I was about to say, you'll see like another Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
Shirt over there and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of that stuff winds up, and makes some great memes. But anyways, that's where a lot of that stuff winds up. But we have so much of it here now. If you go to Europe, what you're going to see over there, you don't see as many of the T-shirts and that kind of thing. What you see is people tend to buy nicer clothes that are a whole lot. They may not necessarily look nicer, but they're a whole lot better made, and they're a lot more expensive. So, like I'm sitting here thinking about, okay, my dresser, I've got 2 drawers of T-shirts that, completely full. And I think I probably wear about 5 of them.
Yeah. You don't even want to know how much I have.
Yeah. Everybody's got those. Like, I really like that shirt. I really don't want to throw it away.
Yeah. It's tough.
My wife's like, she's like, oh, are you into midriffs now? Throw it out. Yeah. Actually, no, so my son's 19 and my daughter's 13. So like my toady shirt, I see, one of my kids wearing that the other day. Yeah, my Willie Nelson shirt. I saw that one.
Hell yeah.
Going out the door. And I was like, oh man.
Wish I had. My dad had done that.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a pack rat, so yeah. My
the
kids
one thing
are,
I have from my stepdad is a 1990s Michael Jordan Bulls jersey.
Nice.
That is my prized possession right there. I love that one, but other than that, never got anything.
But now you got all this consumerism. That's what's kind of pushed a lot of this stuff. So what do you do with the trash from it too? That's the other thing.
Our landfill just got full, didn't it? Here in Lubbock.
Oh man, I don't know. Told me. Oh really? Okay.
Except for limbs and trees, like the landfill's full.
Oh okay. You got to go to like C&D Waste instead.
I don't know where he went.
Oh okay. Yeah, that's well, I mean, there's another one. You ought to look up, man, if you're into stuff like regenerative ag and farming, like there's a guy, I'll remember his name. Polyface Farms is the name of him. He's on YouTube. But like this guy does, I mean, he shows a lot of things like, you take all those grass clippings and you mix that with, tree trimmings, mix those two together. And then you get enough carbon, you get enough nitrogen together that stuff will compost really well. You can make great soil with it. And this guy's doing it like on an industrial scale. So, I mean, something you could really make a huge change in your ag, especially in this area. If you're taking all that stuff and just spreading it out on fields instead of dumping it in a hole in the ground.
Yeah, there's always
but, well, that's the stuff like, that's why I like being that's what I've enjoyed about being in government. You can start making some changes, get some different things done. I was talking with a friend of mine, city manager at Slayton, Wade Wilson, and they're talking about like, I mean, good Lord, they had to go through and did an audit on like, why do we have so many dumpsters? Hold on a second, we have more dumpsters than houses. Wait a minute. And when he first got the job, started figuring all that stuff out and getting things right. And I said, you know what you could do? And he's like, what's that? And I was like, buy everybody in town that wants them 4 chickens. And he's like, what? And there was a city, I want to say it was in Holland, that did this. So they had too much food scrap waste, and they're trying to get rid of it. So what they did was they went and told everybody in town. They said, "Okay, we'll give you 4 chickens. Yeah, you can't have roosters because we're not going to listen to that and that nonsense in the morning. But we'll give you 4 chickens if you'll take them. We'll give you the little cage for them, little hutch or whatever." So they did that. Well, their food waste that they were having to spend all this money on to have it disposed of. I mean, it dropped. I mean, it got down. I think they cut out like 80% or something. And just because now people are going out back and just feed into the chickens. So, you start looking at stuff going, wait a minute. Okay, we can, and chickens are cheap, it didn't cost them any money. And, and chickens will also make more chickens. So, somebody's going to eventually get a rooster, but, anyways, so, there's little changes like that will actually, if you can get little things, if you can get everybody doing it, it makes a huge difference in the long run.
That's the issue, huh? It's getting people on board.
Oh yeah. Well, but it's got to make sense, when you're like, hey, here's free chickens. Okay. Yeah. Why not? Sure. Well, what do I feed it? Oh yeah. You just throw your table scraps out there. Oh, okay. Cool. If you got a dog, that's usually where most of the stuff goes. Okay. If you got a big dog and it's an outdoor dog.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's lots of little things like that you can do just about every level in government.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this, I asked Gus this, and I've just been thinking about it. Speaking of younger generations, why do you think communism is so appealing to them? And why do you think it's kind of becoming popular amongst young people? I don't get it. I really don't.
A couple of reasons. So, one, they've never seen it. They don't know what it actually is. Okay. They don't remember the Cold War. They don't remember, I was born in 83 when the wall come down in East Germany. So 89, 91, something like that. So I would have been like 7 or 8. I remember that. I remember seeing that. These people are so excited just to get out of this country and to climb over. It's like, okay, I remember communism. I can remember seeing that on TV. So, I mean, you'll never, I'm about to be 43. You'll never talk to somebody my age and that's thinking that's a good idea, except for Bernie Sanders. But anyway, we've seen that. If you think communism is a good idea, go talk to a Cuban. Go ask a Cuban how that, what they think about it, how that worked out. Go talk to a Venezuelan. But here's the thing: all the communist countries, they always end in a dictatorship every single time.
This is like common knowledge. That's why I don't understand why it's so damn popular. It seems like there's, I'm just saying it, like a sort of a communist insurrection kind of coming up. I don't understand it. I really don't.
Well, so you've got that. Then the other thing, so you got that going on. Then let's not forget what else you got here going on too. Look at what feminism has done for so long, like with the Me Too movement and all that. I mean, you had a generation of men that were being told that they were bad, they were evil, they were everything that was wrong with the world. And so you had that going on. So to the point that, like, guys are supposed to go up and talk to girls. You're supposed to go over there and say hi, introduce yourself. And, wait a minute. Microaggressions, that was the other one. Okay, well, you're kind of violating my space by coming over here and talking to me. I mean, you got so far into that mess and that crap to where you've got the guys don't even want to talk to the girls. Me.
I'm single and I still think, like, in the back of my head, I'm not a creep or anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and you're like, well, hold on. I don't stand too close to you and make this all,
Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
They were, what was it? I'm sorry. Okay, my age group, you walked up, you're like, hey, you want to talk to a girl? You walk over there and grab her hand. And now, wait a minute, hold on. Can I hold your hand?
Yeah,
do you consent? Could you please sign this form and initial here in 3 places? You're not going to sue me later.
It's almost like that.
Yeah.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that kind of crap. I'm like, are you kidding me? And that's where I'm like, okay, mail order brides, that business is about to take off. You're gonna, you're gonna start seeing a lot of Latvian women moving over here.
Bring those Venezuelans over here.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So that's you had that mess going on. So I mean, I think you just really, really screwed with our culture enough to this point to where you're having kids that are acting that way. That and I always thought the cruelest thing you could do to somebody is when they're messing up is not say anything. So, sometimes you're kind of being a bit of an ass about that. And I was like, yeah, well, somebody's got to tell him. And, okay, young men that do not use, bathing regularly and deodorant. Those are two things I will look somebody square in the eye, like, hey, come here, we need to talk. All right. First off, you need to go wash your ass. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Okay. First off, you will shower daily, once a day. Yeah. Letting the water. Yeah. You can't just get in the shower and run around. No, you got to get a wash rag. Like, what the hell's a wash rag? You're like, wait, what? It's like a loofah, only flatter.
Yeah.
And, and use a bar of soap for the love of God. Okay. This is deodorant. Okay. We're going to use the deodorant. And that's where I'm just like, why are you not using deodorant? Why? I mean, how do you not smell that? And I mean, but there's people I'm flat that I didn't know from Adam, like, hey, come here. Look, nobody's ever going to take you seriously if you keep looking like this, acting like this, and dressing like. And maybe I'm getting to that, hey, you kids get off my lawn age. But you're like, damn, somebody's got to tell them. And because if you don't, then they're not going to figure it out. And part of that's because we banned bullying, but
maybe.
I mean, if nobody,
you guys might have went a little overboard, but.
Yeah, that's true. Like hazing, it needed to come back, a little bit. But I mean, there's better ways to enforce social norms than swirlies. I give you that. But I mean, somebody's got to say something.
So this but this is correlating towards communism.
Oh yeah. So I mean, so you've got disenchanted men in America. You've got that and the other thing that the media likes to portray. Oh, America's terrible. America's awful. Blah 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 blah. That sells to people who have never been out of America. Okay, if you've never left the country, you're liable to believe that nonsense. But go someplace. And I don't mean They're like, oh well, I've been to let's see, where did we go? The Virgin Islands. I went down there and I was like, yeah, that's great. You were on the sunny side. You were over here on the beach. The lady that cleaned your room, follow her home one evening and see how that country lives. I mean, actually go over there. I used to live in down around South Padre Island, Brownsville area. We go down to Mexico, down there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, you drive down to Matamoros has got some really nice places in it, but you went through some really rough places to find those nice places. That's you need to go to a country where like on top of the walls. I mean, this is pretty common in a lot of countries, but if you built a cinder block wall, the concrete on top, you would take glass bottles and stick them in the top of the concrete like that. And then when you're done, you go through there and you break all of them. So you've got nothing but, beer bottle glass sticking straight up off the top of that thing. And nobody crawls over fences in Mexico. You just don't do it because not only is there those things sticking up, but I remember seeing that in Jamaica as well too. Costa Rica, saw it down there too. Yeah, I mean that's pretty common. We don't do that around here because you would get sued. We used to make cyclone fencing, and most of it, it's all the top's always bent down like that. The old stuff, had spikes that stuck up, where that wire's twisted off to a point.
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that kept people from hopping fences. But now, I mean, would you really go out and buy that and put it out? No, somebody try to sue you because I was trying to break into your house, peacefully, non-violently, and your fence cut my arm. I mean, yeah, that I had my little furry costume on and it got caught on the ears when I climbed over your fence. So. But yeah, communism, why is it so appealing? I mean, I think you just got got a whole generation that's extremely disenchanted. I think you're also pumping them full of, like we've talked about the plastics, the forever chemicals, all this other nonsense. Testosterone is dropping down to nothing. And I mean, I'm not even talking about the women. I'm just talking about the men because, that's who's supposed to be stepping up and running and leading this country, leading their households.
It's just fucking crazy to me. Like people here. Mm-hmm. That I know see me wear this, mm-hmm. and it automatically are like, I'm not even lying, like he's a fucking Nazi, or me, I'm white supremacist. Okay, what the fuck is going? It confuses. Like being proud to be American, mm-hmm. kind of. That's why I started doing it a lot because I'm like, you guys are trying to really like.
I mean, you're rocking the American flag and a nose ring, so how do you get
long hair? Yeah, come on, dog. I saw it. I just saw it like this wave of mm-hmm. anti-American. Like it seemed like it was like probably there's higher levels, but it seemed like there was this weird dismantling of this fucking country from within.
Yeah,
I felt that. I really felt
George Carlin used to call it the pussification of the American male, and he was saying that like 30 years ago or 40 years ago. He wasn't wrong.
I felt like that was going on. Like it was like destroy America like that.
Yeah,
and it seemed to have been working for me. That's why I'm like, fuck this. I'm gonna be proud to be American.
Oh yeah,
fuck that.
Yeah,
we are the best.
Well, that's what I'm liking about y'all's generation. That's the way you guys are rebelling now is by being pro-American and wearing a MAGA hat out, arguing with anybody that want to complain about your hat.
I won't argue, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean that's somebody didn't like it and kick rocks. So yeah, good.
Crazy.
I'm glad to see it.
It was so crazy to me.
Oh yeah. Well, I think people keep talking about how bad America's getting. I think we're on the cusp of the third Great Awakening. And, you had the first one, you had the second one. I mean, at one time in this country, God's came back and saved our nation twice. I mean, like majorly had to come in here and sort it out. But the second Great Awakening, things had gotten so bad that they outlawed Christmas. Like, because Christmas was nothing but a drunken brawl where poor people would just get drunk, go out in the streets, and then they would go down the street beating on the doors of people that had more money. Oh man, there's actually a couple of Christmas carols that are about that. I'm trying to remember that one. It says, "Oh, give me some figgy pudding." It was like carol. That's what actually like caroling. When you think of caroling, you think of people going down and singing Christmas carols, right? It's all nice and this wonderful thing you do for your neighbors. Back in the day, nope. That wasn't what that was. That was a drunken, angry mob coming down the street, beating on the doors, expecting to be given away. Yeah, making wanting the rich people to give them like figgy pudding was very like a delicacy. Oh, okay. So you didn't have that on the poor side of town. So, but I mean, think like Charles Dickens, time period. So, anyway, yeah, they'd be beating on the doors, and like the carols that they're singing, part of that was about, that's what they were. I mean, it was almost like like a hate chant or something.
Oh, shit.
So, but yeah, I mean, they canceled Christmas in like New York and Philadelphia just because it just devolved into this drunken brawl. So, I mean, but the nation's been brought back twice, and it wasn't led by politicians; it was led by preachers. So, I'm glad. Love him or hate him, Trump's done a lot of great things. Feel that RFK voice coming on.
There we go.
So, anyways, he's done a lot of great things, especially for the church and for Christianity. One of those is getting rid of the Johnson Amendment. Are you familiar with that? Mm-mm. So the Johnson Amendment, when Johnson first got in office, if you want to, LBJ, former president in the 60s, right? If you want to look up a really corrupt guy, go look that dude up. There's some wild stories on him. I mean, he had his own sister shot for basically just being a slut at the golf course that he was hanging out at. That dude was, I mean, he was something else. And anyways, Yeah, she's making him look bad. So he had her shot. The guy that shot, I mean, broad daylight, plenty of witnesses, no big deal. He went to prison. He's out in like 2 years, and owed a big favor. So, anyways, that level of corruption. Anyway, so but Johnson had a problem with some preachers that were giving him a hard time, and anyways, they were preaching against him. They're speaking out against him. I'll tell you another one. Amarillo lost their Air Force base over Johnson. Amarillo was one of the first areas that really started voting Republican back then. Johnson shows up and he's like, guess who you're going to be voting for? And they're like, yeah, we don't think so. So they voted against him, and they pulled that Air Force base. So that's how they actually lost their Air Force base, back in the 60s. And Amarillo, like Lubbock too, is a great place to have an Air Force base because it's flat. I mean, there's nothing to run into. So anyways, what was it? Yeah. Anyway, so Johnson puts in this amendment to the tax code and just went in there, just had it written in, and it just said that all your 501c3s could not participate in political speech or action and can't donate to candidates, that kind of thing. Okay, so churches never had to file anything before. I mean, it was a church that's just separate from the government. You don't tax the church. You never have. Well, then what they did was they said, well, yeah, but the IRS was like, yeah, but we need a designation for them. Like, we need to designate them as something. And they're like, okay, well, we'll call it a 501c3. Okay. The church was like, oh yeah, that's what you need to put it down. Okay. So what do you want us to do? Well, when your members donate money, you can send them back a tax, a tax write-off, and yeah, see, that's how they get you. So yeah, you can put down a tax write-off, and you can get that back to them. They can turn it in, and since they're donating to a 501c3, and everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, cool. And I'm sitting here going, I thought the Bible said to store up your treasures in heaven. Where do you want your credit for it, on earth or or in heaven? But anyways, so that's how they got them. Okay. So then what happened? Anytime, so Johnson put that in there to stop preachers from preaching in politics. Okay. So Johnson just wanted to shut up a couple of preachers, and it had these, much bigger ramifications. So if the preachers couldn't preach on politics, and if you wanted to shut the church up about something, oh, well, that's political. You can't talk about that. Oh, that's why they did that. Okay. Oh, who the president's going to be? Oh, yeah, you can't talk about that. Oh, how many mistresses does he have? Oh, well, that's political. You can't talk about that. And I'm like, really? It's political now, huh? Yeah. I thought the Bible had a term for that. Yeah. I thought you weren't supposed to be out running around on your wife. But what the president does, we can't talk about it because it's now political. Well, what else is political? Well, gay marriage. Oh, well, that's political. Oh, okay. Abortion. Oh, that's political. You silence the number one influencer in America that told that, for where our beliefs come from. It's like when you talk to people and they say, well, I'm a Christian, but I'm pro-abortion. Wait a minute. What? That's a person in conflict. Your religious beliefs have to define what your political beliefs are. If they don't, you can't have these two in conflict with one another. If you're part of a political party that goes against what your church preaches, and what you believe, yeah, I mean, that's a person that's in war. I mean, you're always going to be at war with yourself internally. Anyway, so they used the Johnson Amendment to silence a bunch of preachers. So Trump gets in there. What happens? It's gone. No more. Now, here's the thing about it, though. The government always knew that it would never hold up in court. You had radical churches out in California that would preach on politics every single weekend. Put the recording, put the tape, whatever, CD, whatever they had, put it in the mail it to the IRS, daring them to come in and shut them down. The other thing too, churches are not required to have a 501c3. A church is a church. It's still defined that way. You don't have to accept the label of a 501c3. That and the other thing too, I believe the Mormons, I think they pay, their churches pay taxes on everything. They're organized as a corporation, which gives them abilities to certain things on, I think, property ownership and other things like that. But
own a whole state.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Utah. There you go. So, anyways, working on Nevada, from what I understand. But you know what? They
don't take Vegas.
Let them have California. I think they already own half of Vegas. Let them take California. I mean, it's not going to get any worse. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Soaking. I mean, come on. Don't look that one up. But anyway, so
man, I was going to tell a story.
So yeah, Okay, so Trump got rid of that. All right. Now, I'm not happy that he got rid of that so churches don't get sued. I'm happy that preachers don't have an excuse not to preach on politics anymore. And when I say preach on politics, I don't think preachers need to go out and endorse candidates by any means, unless you want to. But you can go to Jason Corley for Congress. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, but no, I don't think they need to be endorsing candidates, but they certainly need to be talking about what God's politics are. Because you've got some Christians like, oh, well, I'm a Christian, so I just don't engage in politics. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Paul engaged in politics.
What I kind of heard about this. What is the issue with the pastor endorsing a candidate? I don't understand what's the issue with that.
So the reason I would say it's not that they can't, they surely can. It's just that I don't think it's a good idea. And the reason I'd say that is Billy Graham. He came out, back in the heyday. I mean, Billy Graham was. I mean, oh man, he was in his heyday in the 50s and everything. They had oh man, I don't think you'd remember the Crystal Cathedral. I don't think you remember that one. Anyways, but they used to have they had churches that were like drive-in. Billy Graham got started like a drive-in movie theater, and people would pull up in their cars, and they would in California, and they would just take the little speaker and set it right there on the window, and then he would stand up in front of the screen and preach, and that's how they heard it. But yeah, he was huge. I mean, Billy Graham was bigger than Elvis. This guy, I mean, he would sell out more shows than you name them. Elvis, Buddy Holly, anybody, didn't matter. I mean, he was bigger than rock and roll anywhere that he went. And then, there started being some people say, hey, what do you think about politics and this, that, and the other, which he usually stayed away from it, or he stayed out of it. He didn't go in there. He said, look, this is what God says. I don't know what the president, I don't know what they're saying, but this is what God says. If what they're saying doesn't align with what God says, then you don't need to be doing that. And it was pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. And then the other thing too was it was always pretty well assumed, because America's a Christian country. It's always been a Christian country, and all of our laws reflect that. The other thing too, like when you read in the Constitution, the way that they use the word, the way that they use the word church is the way we use the word denomination. Like they the Danbury letters where Thomas Jefferson's talking about, he's writing back to the Danbury church, and he says, hey, look, there will always be a clear separation between church and state. What he meant by that was the state's never going to do like a lot of European countries, like the Anglican Church in England. The King of England is basically the Pope of the Anglican Church, that kind of stuff. So what he's saying is like the government is never going to sanction a certain church. Like you're never going to have to tie it to the government, or if you pay taxes to the government, we're not going to take that money and give it to one church or another. All the states were founded on their different churches. So like Pennsylvania was the Quakers, so they had their beliefs. And then I'm trying to think of what the other ones were, but every one of the states they already had their own church. That's how they were operated. So they already had that in place. So what he was saying was, he's like, hey, look, we're not going to favor one over the other. They didn't want to create a power struggle. They didn't want the political parties to become the Methodists and the Baptists, and then the Church of Christ, and then that's what they were trying to avoid. So that's what he's talking about. So when you hear people talk about today, they're twisting those words. The way that they use the word religion is the way that that we use the word church. So I mean, they're go through there and put church in there, and you'll see the difference. Okay. And because they didn't really, I mean, there weren't Muslims there. I don't believe at the time. I'd have to go back and look. I don't believe that there were any. I don't think there was anyone that was Jewish at the time in the country. So or certainly none of the founding fathers, but. That's what they always envisioned. It was always intended to be a Christian country. So, so when you start applying those logics, also, I'm trying to remember, I think it's Thomas Jefferson. He said, our system of government is wholly inadequate to govern anything other than a moral and just people. This system of government that we have, I mean, you can't, I mean, if you got a bunch of crooks and thieves in this country, you can't run it that way. It's not going to work. The other saying was, when this country will become undone when the people realize that they can vote themselves money from the coffers. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's when you're starting to see like some of your welfare programs. Okay, so now you've got oh well, hey, a bunch of my constituents all want these welfare programs, so I've got to support that. But what about your corporate welfare programs? what about your NGOs? What about your Planned Parenthoods that are taking that money that they're getting from the government, routing that back to congressmen? What about your major corporations that are making sure that ag subsidy plans, that food subsidies, that all these different subsidies get paid out a certain way so that it goes through the hands of the farmer and winds up in their pocket? What about these foreign lobbyists that are doing that as well too? So. I'll tell you a story. Okay, game rooms. When I was trying to, I think we talked about this before, the game room policy, trying to get that done here in Lubbock County. I've been trying to get rid of those things since I first got in office. I went so far as to, I would call the lobbyist groups that, the Oklahoma casinos and the Vegas casinos, they lobby our state reps, not to,
really?
Not to allow Texas to allow casino gambling. Because if they do that, what's going to happen? Well, there's half the business that Las Vegas has, that's going to go away. People are going to quit taking the bus to Oklahoma to go gamble. So, they don't want that. They've got major investments in both of those, those towns. They want those Texans flying out. The other thing too, they really like Texans coming out there because when we go, we spend money. You don't go out. I mean, nobody flies out to Vegas and you're like, oh yeah. You're not packing a sandwich when you go to Vegas. You're like, hey, they got good food. We're going to go to that really good buffet. We'll save up when we go out. We spend money, and they know that. So they want Texans coming to visit them. Not every state's like that, but anyway. So I would call those lobbyist groups up, and I was like, hey, y'all need to get a stop to this. And they're like, well, it's not casino gambling. I was like, oh yeah, it is. It's just being done at the lower level, So I would go talk to those guys and like, hey, y'all need to start going after these game rooms because they're cutting in on your money. Just trying to get any help I could get. So I mean, it's kind of counter lobbying. You try to, but you see that stuff go on. So you've got other nations that are coming over here. They have to register as foreign lobbyists, so they say. But do they? I mean, let's say that. Okay, all right. I'm a third world dictator, and you're a major corporation. You come talk to me and you're like, hey, you really ought to buy, or I call you up and I'm like, hey man, I really want to buy whatever this thing is you got. And you're like, yeah, you should do that. Better yet, why don't we go convince the American congressman to give you money to buy this thing from me? We'll call it a subsidy. We'll call it foreign aid. We can get you guys we can get you some democracy to go along with that. We can get, we can claim we're advancing LGBTQ rights in your country. I mean, whatever. Anyways, that goes on all the time. So now that country, Islamabad, who the hell Kyrgyzstan, is not having to come over here and lobby the U.S. government themselves. They've got an American corporation that's already doing it. Or they've got another corporation, not necessarily even American. I remember when Halliburton had their headquarters in Dubai, I was like scratching my head, like 2008, working for those guys. Like, wait, why are you in Dubai? They're like, oh yeah, tax reasons. Oh, okay. I was like, I thought the headquarters was in Duncan, Oklahoma. It's like, well, yeah, that's where we build everything. But okay, so we're a foreign company now. Well, yeah, kind of.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, you see stuff like that going on all the time. But please don't disappear me. But anyways, I always liked working for you guys. But yeah, so I mean, you see this stuff going on all the time, and I'm just sitting here watching it, going, okay, whatever they tell you is not what they're really telling you. Just keep that in mind. I was like, okay, you remember the shooting in Las Vegas when Trump first got in office? Mm-hmm. Most deadly shooting in American history was Las Vegas. It's over 60 people killed. We still don't know what happened. None of it adds up. The guy that, went nuts and was shooting out the hotel, that doesn't work. That doesn't explain all the other stuff that went on that night in that town. Anyway, so, but what did we do? John Cornyn, what did he do? So I'm going to give you guys a shout out on this one. So, what did John Cornyn put out there? He's like, oh, we should ban the bump stock. What? Have you ever shot a bump stock on an AR-15 with a bump stock? It's dumb. It doesn't help. It's not that great. They're like, oh, it simulates semi-automatic fire. No, or full automatic fire. No, nowhere near. Anyway, so that was their solution. I was like, okay, really? All right, some guy that y'all don't want to tell us what really happened. Y'all don't even want to talk about the Saudi prince that was in town who was staying at on the roof of the Bellagio. Y'all don't want to talk about that. That is helicopter coming in and out. Y'all want to talk about the helicopters that were multiple sightings by law enforcement officers with no tail numbers. Y'all don't want to talk about that either. Okay, fine. We just won't talk about that. But you're going to come out and try to take everybody's bump stock and use this as an excuse to start banning AR-15s? Really? I was like, that was your psyop, and somehow it's my fault, and I'm supposed to lose a firearm? No, I don't think so.
Do you think he was MK Ultra?
Oh, which one? Oh,
the shooter, supposedly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I think he was dead before any of the shooting even started. But just from what I've been able to read and what I've been able to find, yeah, I'm not buying that one. I'm not buying
that one's weird.
Charlie Kirk. That was an assassination, and that kid they're claiming did it. Nope, I ain't buying that either. So.
Somebody else did it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody or a group of people did it. Yeah, I think there's
might go down that one.
There's a lot of people that were involved in that. There's a lot of strange things that are coming out. And
what's the reason for it?
What's that?
What's the reason to take him out?
Or Charlie Kirk? Too effective. His
against things he was not agreeing with anymore.
Yeah. So I mean. Okay, so let's jump back. Why are so many people liking communism now? You brought that up earlier. Okay, communism hates the family. I mean, that's the last thing they want. They want everybody individualized and isolated because you're easier to control and manipulate that, that way. So that's what they want. Okay, so here you got a guy going around a college university saying, hey, you really don't need this much education to make a decent living, and then he can prove it. These things are important. Family values matter. God matters. Religion matters. Going to church matters. Having some common sense, not believing every nonsense thing that comes out on that the media tells you or the government tells you. That all matters. That's just important. Think for yourself. He starts addressing these social issues. Well, wait a minute. What happens when that preacher's got more authority than that president? What happens when we all listen to God before we listen to the government? What happens when we turn off the TV? Right? Yeah, what happens when we turn off the TV? What happens if...
or more spooky.
What happens if we stop listening to these things?
That one might be a little bit more spooky than the government.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is 1984 right here.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, what happens when we all start thinking for ourselves? Well, now we're too hard to control. Now we're too hard to manipulate. That's a problem. That's like... oh, man, you ever raise any livestock? Mm-mm. There's nothing worse than having sheep or goats or something like that jump fences. If you got one that's always getting out of the fence all the time, you know what you do? You shoot it. You put it down. You get rid of it. Why? Because it's going to teach all the others how to do it. Next thing you know, now your whole herd is outside of the fence. Well, you know what I was going to do with all those sheep and those goats? I was going to sell them. I was going to, they were all going to get eaten. And you got that one that's smart enough to get out of the fence. You get rid of him before he teaches all the other.
A good analogy. Huh?
So what do you think happened to Charlie Kirk?
It scared the shit out of me, man. It really scared the shit out of me.
Man, it's true. They used to say what was it? What's the highest award you can get in journalism? People say, "Oh, the Pulitzer Prize." I was like, "Oh no, actually, it's getting killed by the CIA." But yeah.
I think they give out that award if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, a couple times a year actually. So. But
that one was.
But you're starting to see some people that are cognizant of this, like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
Dave ain't dumb. Yeah,
it was his last the last thing he said in this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all go watch that.
Man.
But what's he doing? He's hiding in plain sight. The guy's making sure he's always somewhere where it's too public. I mean, you can't get to him, or you can, but everybody's going to see it. You make sure he's always on camera. He's always someplace where, he can't just have an accident. It's like, and he doesn't testify on the Clinton Foundation either. So yeah, that helps. Still, you live a lot longer that way. But yeah, anyway, so that's what I think. That's why I think they went after Charlie Kirk.
I think it was pretty effective.
Oh yeah, well, Charlie managed to. The amount of money that his organization was able to bring in, the amount of people that's impressive. What's really impressive was the amount of people that they were able to organize to go out, knock doors, block walk, call to get Donald Trump in office. So now, and he wasn't running and it wasn't a Republican thing, and it wasn't a Democrat thing. That this was a moral thing. That was a problem. Because they can't control it, can't harness it. And I don't think Donald Trump was trying to do it. I don't think he had anything to do with it, or I don't think anybody in his administration did. But I do think there are other people that didn't want to see that happen. They want things. Like it. They want things. Oh yeah.
He could have been president.
They want things to go back and forth. Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. You ever notice how it alters? I mean, how many times? Thinking back through history, how many times did you ever seen where it was you had a Republican Republican, Republican, Republican 3 times in a row. How often does that ever happen? So I mean, usually it's going to be back and forth. You had 2 years of you had Jimmy Carter, then you had Reagan, Bush. Reagan. Bush. That's one example. Yeah, he couldn't get a 4th term. Then you had Clinton in there. But there's a handful of times where you go 3 and then you punt to the other team. But
more 12 years.
Yeah, more than 12 is pretty uncommon. It's usually 4 and 4, 4 and 4, 4 and 8. Usually doesn't go back and forth very often. So and then Trump, he's only the 2nd president to ever get elected, get defeated, and then get elected again. So I don't know. We'll see what that 3rd term stuff looks like. They keep talking about.
What do you think about that?
I don't know. I need to see how they do it.
I think he's too old.
Yeah,
he's too old. I mean, you got Vance.
Yeah, but I mean, he's older. But I don't know. I think the guy sleeps in a. Okay, here's another thing. All right, tanning booths. Why are those things bad for you? That man's like Donald Trump gets in a tanning booth like every day. I mean, yeah, but these things are supposed to be bad for you and giving everybody cancer. And I'm sitting here scratching my head, going, "Okay, wait a minute, hold on." Maybe it's not the tanning booth. Maybe it's the suntan oil.
Yeah.
Because look at that color orange he's putting on. I mean, he ain't rubbing on no suntan oil. He can get in that color baby oil. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of things I sit here looking at. Like, okay, I'll tell you whose workout video I want and diet RFK's. What is that guy? 77?
That's what I was talking. I did this podcast with this guy Riley. I'm like, he was talking. He was kind of opposing him a little bit. I'm like, but if you want your health guy being that old in jeans doing fucking push-ups and sit-ups and squats and benching, man, come on now.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, because
he's doing something right.
If RFK were here today, I don't think you and I could take him.
I don't think so.
I mean, either. I'm 5'10" and 240, and I don't think we could take him. I think he might stomp both of us, take our wallets and leave.
That'd be crazy.
So yeah, I mean, that's what I'm looking at going, okay, this is the guy that's ought to be in charge of health for America.
What I'm saying. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that's like everybody got mad. They were saying, oh, he's going to take all the sodas out of what's the SNAP program. Yeah. Okay, so what? Go ahead. I mean, that's, that's a good thing. You know who's upset? The soda companies. Pepsi-Cola is not happy about that. Coca-Cola, not happy about that. They're like, we got to go talk to Donald. Come on, we lobbied for this for how long? I mean, really?
This is like one of those things that radicalized me is when I found out about the body positivity movement. Who was funding it? I was like,
oh, who was funding that one?
Oh, I don't know. Kellogg's.
Yeah.
The guys behind the candy soda.
Well, okay. Everybody makes you fat.
Everybody fat. Let's be fat. It's healthy to be fat. And then you see who's really putting.
Dead.
But like who's putting money behind this movement. And you're like.
Brought to you by Hostess Twinkies.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what?
Yeah, it's like, oh, I get it.
Brought to you. Yeah, sponsored by Cheetos. Oh God,
crazy.
So my daughter stock shows. So I got off so easy. We got show rabbits. It's a $50 cage, a $50 rabbit, and a $50 bag of feed. So yeah, I'm doing great as far as stock show is concerned. But anyways, go over there. Go to get a rabbit out of the cage so you can take it there to show it. And it's got orange all over its face. I'm like, what is this? Oh my God, this thing's going to walk in here and die right before we show it. You got to be kidding me. And then I look over there, the little girl pulls her rabbit out. It's got the same thing. I'm like, what is this? I look over and there's this chubby little kid with a full size bag of Cheetos that has been feeding them through the cage. And them rabbits love him. But,
hell yeah.
But yeah, that stuff like, okay, so Cheetos is great. I remember having a food technology class in high school. Teacher's like, okay, we're going to show you something. And she was talking about like the different taste centers on your tongue. Like you got 4 different taste buds. What is it? Sweet, sour, bitter. What am I forgetting here? Yeah, sweet, sour, bitter. And there's one more. Anyways, tangy maybe. Anyways, so Cheetos are designed. It's a design product. There ain't no Cheeto tree. These things. Yeah, I mean these things don't form in corn pods. Anyway, so they're designed. The taste, the flavors on those are designed to hit all 4 taste buds at the same time. So when you do that, you create kind of a little sense of euphoria. So this is why when you get your little bag of Cheetos and you open it up, you remember opening the bag. And then, a couple minutes later, you're standing there with an orange hand and an empty bag and you don't really know what happened. So that's what happens. They're designed to do that. They're designed to get you to like them to eat more. Okay, well, like normal food doesn't do that.
Damn, they really got us.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. Well, but look at who bought them out. And I mean, this isn't conspiracy theory. This is real. This is real. Yeah, cigarette companies bought out the food companies.
They got banned. All right.
Yeah. We'll move over. Okay. All right. Yeah, you ban the tobacco. Okay, that's cool. You know what? Yeah, they don't have to smoke, but they got to eat. We got them.
Motherfuckers.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, but this is where you're like, this isn't even capitalism. This is crony capitalism. Because I mean, like read up on aspartame sometime. How long it took to get that through the Food and Drug Administration. Whoever's the head of the Food and Drug Administration, they'd shut it down. We're not doing aspartame. It makes all this stuff worse. And they'd turn around and hire them. And then whatever food company, they'd hire that guy. And they'd hire that guy. It took them like 25 years to get that stuff through. And then you find out how bad it is for you and how, it's just another manufactured product. It's like, what was wrong with molasses and brown sugar? But anyway, so, you're just watching all this stuff and, who's letting this go on? Well, okay, you get Congress sitting back saying nothing, doing nothing. And why? Lobbyists. Paying them off, buying them off, just, yeah. Hey, I got some real concerns about that. Really? How many zeros do your concerns have? About 4. So, yeah, 4. Oh, okay. All right. Good luck. Yeah. Hope that race goes good. Yeah. I mean, no big deal. And, that's where I'm kind of looking at this stuff going, okay, if I'm going to Congress, what are you going to do? Well, that's like be the first thing you shut down. That and the other thing too, get the, I forget the name of the law. Oh man, my campaign manager's going to shoot me. He's told me this thing 100 times, but okay, there's a reason that like all these, EPA. All right. Do y'all run diesel pickups, the lawn care company?
No, we don't. My boss hates
diesel. They're not even worth owning anymore. not for, with all the emissions problems on them. So you took something that was really simple and reliable and we kept farting with it into, we made it better. Now we're saving the world one paper box or one cardboard box and plastic jug at a time. That is the stupidest thing they've ever put on a car. Like diesel exhaust fluid. Okay. That stuff was, using urea injection. That was for coal power plants. That's what they were doing, trying to reduce those NO2 levels, or to reduce NOx. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense if the tailpipe on the pickup, was 5 feet in diameter. Okay. Yeah, maybe we ought to be doing this. But, basically now what you've done is just completely made the vehicle unreliable and now it burns more fuel. Well, if you burn more fuel, you put off more exhaust gas. How does this make any sense? Then you get back to like some of the old Ford, like the old IDI diesels, some of those things. I mean, if you tune those things up right, I knew guys that were rolling around getting nearly 20 miles to the gallon on those things. Nice. Yeah. And then they'd hook a trailer onto it and it dropped down to about 15. And I mean, that made sense. They're like, oh yeah, but those things would push out black smoke. Well, yeah, when you got your foot in it all day, but I mean, that's not original diesel ran on peanut oil. That's what I look at. I mean, like you see, do you ever see guys do greasel where they would take like, go to the like the fast food restaurant and get the grease from the fryers, for the grease trap around back. Yeah. They take that. So they take all that grease and, anyways, as long as you heat it, you can shoot it through the injection pump on a diesel pickup. It'll run fine. Smells like French fries, but, or you guys were making biodiesel out of it. They're hitting it with a little bit of, it was that isoheat, methanol. Yeah. They use methanol and, lye to crack the triglyceride off and break off the glycerin. They'd separate that off. And then, now you've got basically straight diesel. Anyway, so and that one's a lot better for the environment. Anyway, so you had guys who were just goofing around doing that stuff. Well, now if you make over 400 gallons of biodiesel, there's a tax on it. Now you got to pay tax on it. Jesus. And it's like, why? Who cares? I mean, what were they going to do with that oil anyways? They're just going to throw it away. I mean, it's recycled fuel. Just let it go. Oh man. Oh, hey, this might interest you. Did you see the wind turbines that are blowing up down in Taylor County?
Right now?
Yeah.
No.
So, I mean, I don't know how you take a wind turbine down. I mean, I figured you took like a crane and you like took it apart. No, apparently it's just easier just to blow it up.
Jesus.
So they're just blasting the bottom of them. They fall over and then they just go pick up the pieces. Anyway, so there's a company down there, hit those county commissioners up in Taylor County. They're like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go in and replace these old turbines with new ones. We'd like a tax abatement. And like, wait, what do you want? And they're like, we don't want to pay taxes, property taxes on these new wind turbines. Because we're bringing all these jobs to town. We're doing this, that, the other. And they're like, we kind of got wise to this. Y'all don't hire that much local labor. Number one. Number two, once the wind turbine, it's like a drilling rig. You go and you drill an oil well. Yeah, it takes a ton of people to do that. But once you got a pump jack on it, You just got one pumper that comes by and checks on it once in a while, unless you got to work on it. Nobody's out there doing anything. So the wind turbines the same way. Most of the guys that work on those travel, pretty extensively all across the country doing that kind of work. So anyways, it doesn't really create a lot of local jobs. So yeah, so the county commissioner's like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, we're not going to do that. You guys got to, and the county judge even got it right. He's like, look, at some point you got to stand on your own. Otherwise, this is just becoming, corporate welfare. We try to help you out to get you to come here. Now you're here and, it's time for you to do it yourself. Well, like every other business in town. So anyways, nope, that didn't work. They went through there, and to take those turbines down to save money, they're blowing up the tower.
Blowing up.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. I want to see that video. It's crazy.
That'd be kind of fun. But let's back to your green energy and what a bunch of nonsense that is.
Isn't it a bitch to... Where does that go when you're like...
Oh, I got a scam for you. Okay, so the wind turbine companies are like, hey, what do we do with these giant fiberglass blades? And they're like, oh, bury them. Well, you go to the dump. The dump's like, no, you can't have that hollow space inside of there because otherwise you'll get H2S gas. Bubbles will trap inside of there. When that H2S gas comes to the surface, it's hydrogen sulfide. It'll kill people. So we're like, oh, no. You're not doing that. Oh, shit. You got to grind those up. And there's nobody makes a horizontal grinder big enough to run a wind turbine blade through it. So like, okay. So now we got this new, green energy, green bio, waste that we're got to figure out, or what would you call it? Let's call it bio because it's green. I don't know. Now we got green waste. We got to figure out what to do with. And anyway, so first nobody knew what to do with those things. So they're starting to stack up. And wind turbine companies like, okay, these things don't really make that much money, and we already got the government subsidy. Now what do we do? So you had some pretty good shysters that come in there to the wind turbine company like, hey, we've got a way to dispose of this. We'll take care of it. And they're like, what are you doing with them? Don't worry about it. Okay. They're like, hell, I don't know. They're drilling holes in them and throwing them in the ocean. Who knows? So anyways, they're maybe it's like a Toyota pickup. It ends its life in Mexico. You ever seen those guys from Colorado buy all the Toyota pickups and hook them all together? Be like 10 trucks in a line. They drag them all down to Mexico to sell.
I've never seen that.
Oh man, it's something else. But anyway, so so who knows? They're getting rid of those things. What do we care? Pay the guy and go on. So these guys, the winter getting money for the wind turbine companies to haul off all these blades. Well, then what do? They go over here and talk to this rancher, and they're like, hey man, we need a stack lot. We want to rent about 5 acres of land from you. We'll give you $3,000 a month. We're just taking them down. Then once we get them all down, we're going to truck them out. Oh, okay, cool. So, they're paying. Everything's good. And then they stop paying. Then they stop showing up.
Oh, shit.
Now this rancher is like, where did they all go? And so he's calling the number. He's like, hey, man, where's the check? And they're like, oh, there's nobody answers the phone. There's no company. There's no corporation. It was just a shell corp. Wow. Now he's sitting here with like 500 windmill blades on his property that are 30 feet long. What the hell do I do with these? Okay, so now you got TCQ coming around going, what are you going to do with those? Now you got the county coming around going, hey man, if a tornado hits those things, they're going to go everywhere.
Oh shit! I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It's going to be. Remember lawn darts? Yeah, this is about to get ugly. So this is going to be the really big adult model. So, anyways, now what do you do with this? So I get a bunch of them show up in precinct 2. So I'm out there calling the guy trying to find out where this dude is. And, I was like, okay, I want your home address because if you disappear, I will be coming to find you because no, you're not dumping these things off. Anyway, so, but yeah, you had that scam running around for a little while. They finally figured out what to do with these things. Somebody finally just built a bigger horizontal grinder so you can run that fiberglass through. You can grind it up, throw it in the dump, or you can, I think they burn it and make fly ash out of it. Anyway, so but I mean, you kind of got to watch out for your green energy scams too.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a big scam.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and so if you got one scam, what's the best thing you can do with it? Take 2 scams and then put the 2 scams together. So like if you're asking me, Ukraine, I think it's just nothing but a giant money laundering operation and has been since 2014. But anyways, buddy of mine I used to work with in the oil field. He sends me a picture on Messenger, and it's a picture of from Kiev, of their capital. I'm like, I was like, so did you get a new postcard? And he's like, no, I'm there. That's from the rooftop of my hotel. I was like, I called him. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm working for an energy company. Well, kind of. I was like, how does this work? And he's like, well, basically, he said, what they do is they go around, they lobby all these countries to send money and aid to Ukraine, to help, rebuild their infrastructure for oil and gas. And he said, so he said, one day we're drilling oil wells out here. We're putting in pump jacks. We're building pipeline. was like, oh, okay, cool. That makes sense. He's like, yeah, next thing you know, we're putting up wind turbines. I went, what? And he said, they sold some country on this deal to give Ukraine money to rebuild their green energy so they're not so dependent on the oil and gas that we just got done building for them. And I was like, are you serious? He's like, he said, yeah, I don't know. We say America, what a country. He said, Ukraine, this whole place, I don't know. He says, the whole thing's a scam. Anyways, I was like, really? He's like, yeah, we're putting up wind turbines 6 miles from the front. I went, what?
Jesus.
And he's like, yeah. And then the front moves. So we leave. They come in, they blow up the wind turbines, tear them all down or whatever they're going to do with them. And then, we come back and then, we go back and this company goes back and re-lobbies that country. Like, oh, look what the Russians did. They tore down all the wind turbines. Yeah. Sorry. Can you give us some more money? So we can save the planet and the Ukrainians.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a giant scam.
Holy
so
shit.
That's why everybody's like, oh, but 4 and 8. I'm like, what about it? It's a scam.
Wow.
It was like the NGOs,
that was going and going.
Somebody said, Jason, what are you going to do if Congress doesn't work out? And I was like, oh, I'm going to open up a quality leering center.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We all should have been doing that.
Oh yeah. Get ready. I mean, you think what's going on in Minneapolis is bad. Wait till they start digging into all the ones in Texas.
That's what I was about to, I heard about here.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be worse.
Did you hear about the gas stations?
I've heard just the scams that are going on here.
Yeah.
It's about to get way worse.
Well, there's more people here than there is in Minnesota. So yeah, more people, you pull off more scams. So yeah, get ready. There's H1N1 visas. That's going to be another one that's about to blow wide open. Did you see that one where they're talking about it's supposed to be a tech startup? And this guy's got all these H1N1 visas, all these people that are coming in. Supposedly there's 500 people working at this house. It's just a residential house in Dallas.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The guy that reported on it was like, we've been set up across the street for a week. Nobody has come or gone out of this house. And he said, supposedly they're all working here. So you got that stuff running everywhere. So you know what? Hey, every time we find something's crooked, shut it down. Just turn it off, stop, done. Yep, no
solution.
more. Just stop. I mean, just stop. Well, we need to investigate. No, we don't. The investigation is done.
Yeah.
I look, do you not have Facebook? Here you go, sir, Mr. Investigator at the FBI. Look right there. You see all that? Yeah, no, just turn it off. Turn it off. We're done.
It's about to get crazy, man.
Oh,
Jesus.
yeah. Well, but you start, like the leering centers, they were just taking all that money. What Boko Haram was who was going to. That's the, that's the I don't know, dictator terrorist group that's running Saudi Arabia. So, that's who they've got. That's where all the money was getting funneled back to. I was like, okay, great. We're funding our own enemies again. Again.
Yeah.
I can't blame the CIA for this one. I mean, those are the people that brought us they brought us Osama bin Laden, Noriega, the Taliban,
ISIS?
ICE. Yeah. Yeah, I got some questions about that one.
Yeah.
But I was like, cut these guys off. Why do we keep giving them money? All they do is train they're just training our next terrorist. I mean, they're training our next bad guy every time I turn around. They're why? What are we doing?
Every time I hear about government, I'm like, why?
Yeah, why would you do that?
Jesus.
And it's not even like you don't even get an excuse out of the federal government. Like it's not ever like, well, we thought that was going to be a good idea, and it just really didn't pan out like we thought. Because when you dig into it, you're like, okay, what were you thinking? I feel like it's like the Sandlot. It said, what were you thinking? You weren't thinking, yeah, because if you'd been thinking, you wouldn't have thought that. I mean, just like some of the stuff you're going, why did you give them guns? Okay, wait, hold on a second. Why are you helping the drug runners to raise money for other clandestine operate? Wait, hold on a second. Don't we give y'all money for stuff that's off the books? I was pretty sure we did.
Yeah. I
mean, I don't know. That's the stuff that I want to go to Washington and just get up there. I mean, just get up there and ask the question, because in District 19, this is the place to do it from. Like, Massey? Does he have any challengers right now?
I'm not sure.
I need to go. Okay, I got to go look that up. Okay, because that dude, and I hope he's in a district that really supports that guy really heavily. Because I mean, he's walking out there going, "Hey, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. Why are we doing that?" Him and Rand Paul. Rand Paul's I think he's out of Kentucky, so he's pretty solid. He's in good spot.
He was just on Joe Rogan today.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm. I'm gonna check that one out.
Rand's pretty good. He's not Ron, but he's pretty good. Yeah, who knew Ron Paul was a prophet back then? See, I remember him running for president. People were just laughing at him. I was like, no, that makes a lot of sense actually. then here we are a few years later, and you're like, oh yeah, every look at that, every bit of that came true.
I know a few people who voted for him.
Oh yeah,
when he was running for president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember my dad did too. Ross Perot's another interesting guy.
I've heard some stories about that guy. Yeah, he rules.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a really good book by Ken Follett you ought to read called "On the Wings of Eagles." It's about they made a movie they made like a TV miniseries. You can still find it. You can find it on YouTube. But it's about when his people got grabbed in.
That's a story I heard.
Yeah, about him going in there and hiring a colonel.
Go over there and do it myself.
Oh yeah. So like, because I wrote my junior theme over that guy. He's the only person to spend more money. I think he's still the only person to spend more money in a presidential campaign and still lose. But the dude, like, they threatened to kill his family and all stuff, so he like pulls out of the race and he tries to get back in at the end of it. But when I was a kid, I remember like in '92, he bought out like ABC and they ran his life story on TV on a Saturday from 8 o'clock in the morning to midnight. I mean, right before election day. I mean, it was unreal. Like you couldn't get away from it. And yeah, I mean that guy was a trip. But yeah, I mean, he got his people out when Iran flip flopped, which is getting ready to happen again. It looks like.
Yeah, I think as we're speaking.
Yeah.
You don't know because their internet shut down, but I think that they're what is it called, the Ayatollah? They're done. I mean, they've killed thousands of people.
Oh yeah. Well, that and are we going to run in there and grab him the way we got Maduro?
Did you hear about that?
Oh,
on this one about the direct energy weapons.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I
think it was a show of force.
Yeah. So we've had that for a long time. That's nothing new. Well, they were testing it out in I think it was Cuba. Where at the embassy, people were reporting that they were having similar problems, and it was an early test on it. But that's been 20 years ago. But the directed energy weapons, that's man. A friend of mine, me and him were talking about this. He's like, man, when I was in the Marines, and he said we had that, and I know for a fact we had that because I had to use it in 2012. So if you had a massive group of people, I mean, it was like an invisible laser. Yeah, that you could shoot at somebody, and it was like I mean, you kind of like had to hold it on them like a flashlight, basically, but from a long ways away. And anyways, I mean, you just get really hot and uncomfortable. But it was maybe a circle on your chest, about the size of like a basketball. And so crowd dispersion. Yeah, the one guy that's got the megaphone, shine that on him. He's done. He leaves. Damn. But yeah, he said, man, we were using that in where was it? I'm trying to remember where he was deployed at. I think he told me about them using it in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then in some South Asian countries as well too. So yeah, I mean it's nothing new. The laser systems they're shooting the drones down with. I had a buddy of mine that was on a J-Star plane. They had that back in 2006. They were mounted on planes. So like if there's a anti airplane what do you call it, missile fired at you, it would heat up the warhead on the front of it and get it to explode before it got to the plane.
Oh shit!
But yeah, they had those on the they had that on the J-Stars, and they had it on the what was it? Oh, what's that plane? It's the funnest part of Call of Duty. Oh man, it's a
AC-130.
Yeah, the AC-130 with the howitzer sticking out the side of it. Yeah. It's got a little brother. They both those fly out of Clovis over here. Anyways, it's got a little brother called the Combat Wombat. It's a little bit smaller one.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I just always thought that was hilarious. Imagine that. What plane do you fly on? Oh, the Combat Wombat.
I guess people forgot we're the #1 superpower.
Yeah, we've got the.
I don't think any other country could do what we just did.
First, second, and third largest navy. So but the other two are in mothballs, just sitting in the port somewhere. But yeah, go in there and grab him. And, people are talking about, oh, they're just there for the oil. Oil's like $57 a barrel right now. We don't need the oil. But you know who does? China.
I was about to say, who else was in there? Mm-hmm. Why were they there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Belt and Road Initiative. So, yeah. Oh, man, we didn't even talk about the BRICS nations. I don't know what to do in the podcast. But
I guess these cameras are about to die soon.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where they're getting their oil for China. It's one of the big spots where they're getting it. So, they're about to be in a pinch. And is that going to help with trade negotiations? Yep, bet it is. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a buddy of mine in the oil field the other day. He told me, he's like, "Hey, man, how much do you think per diem is going to be in Venezuela?" I was like, "I don't know. I bet it's pretty good." That's a ways from the house.
Yeah, I heard a reporter talk about it. She said the people are pretty happy.
Yeah,
he's out.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, God, they're eating zoo animals over there. Just because of lack of options. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, how many Venezuelans does it take to take down a giraffe? You know, we don't know, but we're about to find out.
God
so,
bless.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
God
I mean,
bless.
well, and you look at those guys. I'm like, how do you just watch your people starve? I mean, that's what I don't understand. But just no. I mean, you got how much oil? You got like the largest. I mean, you couldn't trade it for some chickens. I mean, seriously. I mean, like, okay, you know, we got all this oil. Let's at least get everybody fed. Okay, once we've done that, all right. Let's work on the education. Okay, we got medical. We got healthcare. Okay, you know. I mean, you could still be a bazillionaire at running Venezuela and, you know, and not, you know, and treat your people pretty good. That's where I kind of look at these guys like, how sorry can you really be? But,
I thought it was pretty funny that a lot of people, thank God for the internet, a lot of people were like condemning this.
Mm-hmm.
They brought up their old tweets where it was like, we need to get Maduro. Like, okay, you forget you tweeted that about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You dumbass.
Yeah. Now somebody did it and you're complaining.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's ridiculous.
You're just mad your guy didn't do it.
Yeah, I guess. I was like, it's pretty cool.
I was like, hey, like Biden had done that. You know, I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he got the wrong country, you know. Can you see him? I could see him like, you know, the Alzheimer's and all, like him hitting the wrong country, like a no-knock warrant that went bad.
Oh, Jesus.
Venezuela. Wait, that was Colombia.
He would be the guy.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I actually feel bad for him. God bless him.
Well, you know, what was bad was that they just kept him up there like that. I was like, this is elder abuse. I mean,
really
this is just wrong. I mean,
and now they're finally admitting it, but whatever.
Yeah, after the fact, and they're like, oh yeah, he didn't know what's going. Well, you saw where they were going to investigate him for having those documents at his house, and the district judge or the federal judge was like, look, he's too senior. Yeah, his mind's too far gone for it to even be reasonable to hold him. You know, to hold a trial for this guy. You know, there's no way he knows what's going on. You're like, he's running the largest country, the leader of the free world, and you're telling me is incompetent to stand trial? No. I mean, you can't have it both ways. It's one or the other.
Say what you want about this administration, but I'm glad it's not the other one.
Oh, yeah. All the things that nobody would have done anything about, or how much worse it would have gotten, or just continue to let it slide. That's what I'm just looking at. But, you know, I want to see Elon Musk. We need to he needs to be like the Mariah. We need to make Elon Musk like the Mariah Carey Christmas albums. You know, we just pull him out the day after Thanksgiving. We let him run for 160 days, and then he goes back in the closet, and then we bring him back out. You know, let him. I want to bring him back. I want the Doge back. You know, next year, because that was the deal. Because he was a temporary employee of the government, so he could only work for him for so many days.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to bring him back like once a year and just let him go through there and clean house.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? You know, I mean, can you imagine seeing him? You know, him and what was that guy's name? Big Balls. Have those guys be going around knocking on doors of foreign leaders, going, "Hey, look, it says right here we gave you money for this. We're going to need a receipt. It's going to need to be itemized. Okay, yeah. He says here you bought baby formula. Yeah, I see a lot of rockets. I'm not seeing baby formula. We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. And he's like, oh, really? Okay, fine. I'm going to turn off your internet. I'm going to turn off your cars. Yeah. Your PayPal now doesn't work. Yeah.
Just don't do it on us, Elon.
Yeah. He's like, you know what? You're not going to behave. Click. That's enough of you.
I do get fearful of that, but that's for a whole nother podcast.
Oh, yeah. Or just come in and buy your country. That'll be the thing.
I don't see why he doesn't.
Has enough trouble at it. You know what? You know how much problems you're calling with like Twitter level. You're getting really close. Do you want me to call your country X? That's what's about to happen.
Yeah, shout out to him, man. I like him. I really do. I enjoy him.
Yeah, no, I mean, just walked in there. It's like, why the hell are we doing this?
And I think X saved a lot.
Oh yeah,
it really helped us a lot. I do believe it.
And TikTok, everybody's mad about TikTok. And I'm sitting there going, what are you talking about? You mean, do you know how many freelance journalists we have out there? Now everybody can be the media. Anybody can put out anything.
Seems like why they want to buy it.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah,
covering somewhere.
Don't need these poor people, talking to each other too much. Can't have that.
Well, it seems like the people were covering something in Gaza.
Yeah.
On TikTok every day.
200 and something dead journalists.
Can't
that's a problem.
That.
Yeah. So well, I mean, okay, yeah, that's the other stuff too that I get to looking at. They're going, okay, wait a minute. Now that we've got TikTok, now that we've got all this stuff, like when Russia was first going into Ukraine, I saw still where these Ukrainians it's like the townspeople like grabbed this Russian unit and just like put a stop to it. And they got beat but they showed this like 18-year-old kid that was sitting there crying. They felt bad for him, so they gave him like McDonald's, and one of them was letting him use his phone to call his mom just to let her know that he was okay. And They're like, all right, no more, okay, no more guns. Give us your boots, and we're going to put you on the train to Belarus. Just go home, kid. I mean, but because they're all cousins anyway. So yeah, so I don't know. That's the stuff that I'm sitting here going, okay, wait a minute. If we've got Twitter, if we've got all this stuff, you're not going to be able to convince. I mean, the poor man's son always dies in the wars of the rich. I mean, that's all there is to it. That's all there's ever been. How are you going to convince a poor man's son in one country to go and try to kill the poor man's son in another country? It's not going to work. Not when they both got Twitter.
Yeah, not anymore.
Not when they're both looking at this going, wait a minute. What are you mad about? Why are they fighting? Okay. And yeah, it's going to be, that's where you're going to start seeing more people going, wait a minute, what are we doing? Why? Is this really worth? Because like my son's 19. So I've been watching all this stuff with Iran. They're like, we need to go and attack Iran. I was like, not with my kid. I don't think so. No.
Hell no.
Yeah, wait, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Okay. Man, I think
I got 5 years.
Yeah, you got 5 years. So you're still eligible for the draft. So that's the stuff that I'm sitting here going, okay, wait a minute. Hold on. No. Let's, when it's your family, you start thinking about foreign policy very differently. When it's everybody else's kid, you're pretty happy to go ahead and say, oh yeah, have the war. Let's do that. Let's do this. Or if you can get deferments, that's the other thing too. I don't think Congress, if you're going to war, I don't think Congress, children of congressmen ought to be eligible for deferments. Or actually, no.
They should be the ones going to war.
Yeah, it's like, really, you want to do this? Okay, this is where Iran's worth your kid's life. Fine, you sign him up. Because me, no.
That's how I feel. If you vote yes, then your kid.
Yeah, your kid goes first. Yeah, no problem.
Let's see how quick that changes.
Yeah, see what happens. Well, it's kind of like, okay, what if you only let people, in order to go fight in war, you had to be 30 years old. You know how many wars wouldn't happen? You'd have too many people going, okay, wait a minute. Hold on. No, we're going to talk. Yeah.
I ain't going to fight no war.
Yeah, well, but for what purpose and for why? When were we attacked? I mean, that's the stuff that I look at going, okay, I'm not going to go fight in somebody else's bananas Republic war. I'm not going to send my kid or your kid.
A banker war.
Yeah, exactly. That's the stuff where it's like, okay, what do we benefit from this again? I mean, now don't get me wrong. If you did it like the Romans, and all the guys that went and fought in Iraq, each one of them got X amount of land that you got to keep. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, wait a minute.
Land and women?
Yeah, at least it'd be fair.
Yeah. Fuck no.
But, oh man. Well, hey, thanks for having me on. Man. This has been a blast.
All right, yeah, we can talk about that off air. Anything else for the people? Where can they follow you?
Oh man, go to jasoncorley4texas.com. You can catch me there. I give everybody my cell phone number. So it's 806-577-9778. So any questions about the campaign? If you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, give me a call. Man, it's a Big Ten organization. So we've got people that are calling, we got people that are block walking, we got people and. Man, me and my family, so we sat down and sent out fundraising letters, and we hand wrote all of them to try to save some money and folded them ourselves. Oh God,
or was it now?
2250, 2,250 of those.
How long did that take?
A minute.
Oh,
Jesus. I about burn up the printer, but that was interesting. And I'm not really impressed with HP and them making you buy their ink that's got their special chip on it. There's no difference in the other one.
Oh man!
But I will show you how to pop the chip off and put it on the fake ink.
What's that called? Crony capitalism.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Yeah. Right to repair. We'll talk about that one next. But
when's the vote? For you?
Okay, so early voting is going to start, February 17th, and election day is on the March 3rd.
March 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can get you back on before then.
Yep.
Run a conspiracy one.
Oh, there we go.
No.
Okay, yeah.
But man, thank you for being here. Good luck, and let's save America.
Oh, definitely. Somebody's got to.
We'll see you guys.